that's always good. So it was clean out there, what we just saw.
Yeah. So then, of course, just the official results get pulled once they get the data out.
Yep.
Make sure nobody's broken the fuel limitations or the N2 limitations. And if all goes well, I mean, that continues a clean sweep so far for Andrew Tate.
So our boats are headed back toward the Stan Sayers Memorial Pit area. We had a nice talk earlier today about Stan Sayers and his role and why this is the Stan Sayers Memorial Pit area. And he put the Slow Motion 4 racing team together. We've already had this discussion, but for you, this was back in 1950. This is the Ted Jones race course. Stan Sayers, a Seattle businessman, got a hold of Ted Jones and a gentleman named Anchor Jensen. They built a boat that set the world straightaway speed record, went to Detroit, won the Gold Cup, brought it out to Seattle, and that was 1950 and 51. We had our first race, and here we are.
Wow.
We're still standing here.
Now, the boat that I had the opportunity to ride in and briefly drive, the Miss Wahoo, was that same era, or is that just 5 or 6 years later?
I believe that is, it's one of 2 years, but I think I got this right. It's the 1956 Miss Wahoo.
Okay.
And I think that was the year the Wahoo was launched, a very famous boat driven by a very famous man. As you look at the U-91, as it gets back to the dock, good-looking shot of that boat. In fact, you're getting a pretty good look there at the Bruce Ratchford BWR Racing right there. There's the Miss Apollo on the other side of the dock, pointed out toward the Ted Jones Racecourse, and the Goodman Real Estate pointed back in as Andrew just now climbs out of the cockpit. We'll keep an eye on the screen there, see if we don't see our Erica Allreed and Mickey Washburn head down the dock, maybe to get that interview with Andrew.
Now you can see the official just to the left of Andrew there on one knee. I believe, is that them pulling the black box out?
That would be what it was. They want to get that box out, and now what we do, we've made sure, this seems so elementary, but sometimes we didn't do it the way we should. The boat that was first across the finish line is the first black box, if you will, that gets tested up in the tech truck. So hopefully we can find out as soon as possible who wins. And last year we had this down to a science. We've pretty much got it figured out now. And the stat man, of course, being on top of his game as he always is, last year had it figured out from the time the winning boat crossed the finish line to the time we got the info from the tech truck was inside 10 minutes. So it was pretty quick.
The tech truck.
The tech truck. Say that 3 times fast. The
easy.
tech truck. Self partial in the tech truck. Oh, and is there our Erica Allreed? I think we see her right there on the dock. So as soon as they are ready to go down there, we'll hear in our ear that we can toss it down to Erica. And I think we've got her right now. So let's do it. Let's go down to Erica Allreed with Andrew Tate.
Andrew, perfection so far, 3 for 3 with those runs. How optimistic are you about closing it out this afternoon?
I don't know. I guess hopefully no one believes in the commentator's curse. So I guess we'll see here at 2:55. But it's nice to get into the final with all the points on the table. Congratulations to everyone here at the Goodman team, BWR Racing. We've had a really, really strong weekend, and it's a kind of a breath of fresh air coming from last weekend. We had a little bit of shooting ourselves in the foot there, and rough Sunday in Tri-Cities. So to get this Sunday started off right, it feels real good.
And coming off the course, you said that the water was very deceiving, as Tanner and Brad had pointed out, that it looked like a rougher ride. So how were you able to navigate it for this top spot?
It's easier when you're out front and you can kind of see what's coming, to be honest with you. But yeah, there was some weird rollers out there. I'm sure we've got people pulling up on the log boom that aren't helping, but that's part of the game here at Seattle. It's I don't know, it's almost more like a river course, to be honest with you, in its own aspect and in its own way. So it's always a challenge. It'll be super challenging with 6 boats out there in the final. So we'll see what's going on. You're tickling my chin with that thing.
Another job well done here today. Best of luck in the final. Back to you guys.
Well, thank you very much, Erica Allreed, doing a great job down there catching Andrew Tate right after he steps off the boat. And Tanner, you and I were talking about the rough water, and he confirmed it. Said, yeah, there's some strange-looking rollers, but like he said, and we kind of have always said many times, it's Seattle. You better expect it when you come. It's going to be different. It's a lake. It's not a river, so you don't expect maybe the river current type stuff, but this is a soupy mess with the bridge and the log boom.
Yeah, and he said that, right before he commented on Erica tickling his chin with the microphone, he did say that he did say that it's going to be a little bit crazy in the final with so many boats. Interesting. I mean, I never would have thought it until you mentioned it, that the wake literally bounces off the back of all those boats lined up. Is it the log boom? They call it log boom. And then you've got on this side the wake bouncing off the shore, and then with a little bit of wind, it's kind of holding the rollers on in turn 2 in that first lane. So it will be very interesting. And Andrew, always a very gracious interview, giving it up. Saying that in the lead you're able to see a lot better than behind. But man, with so many boats coming up in the final, that really will hold true and be a challenge.
And not to get too far ahead of ourselves with regards to what's still to come in the season this year, but we're going to go down to San Diego on San Diego's Mission Bay, and that is a white sandy beach shoreline all the way around the race course. So the racers love it because the waves just go up on the beach and dissipate, and they're gone. I mean, you don't have bouncing off log booms. It's a whole different story down there, but
that is lovely.
Not to get ahead of ourselves there. You're looking at the U8 as we're going to talk about the boats that are going to come out here in our Heat 3B. And the first one we're going to look at is the U8, the Beacon Electric. It is driven by that young man right there, J. Michael Kelly. He will step in behind the wheel of that boat. He drove Corey's boat once yesterday, but he's back in familiar territory again today. He likes his U8. He likes to fly it. He also likes an inside lane. Look for him to go for it.
Absolutely, and I sat in that boat just an hour ago, and every single weekend they're coming up with new innovations with that thing, so we'll see if it pays off.
How about this guy right here? He kind of knows his way around. I mentioned yesterday a couple of times. I didn't know how many times he had run and won on Lake Washington. He has won here 10 times, so no stranger to these water conditions. Dave Vilwalk going to drive the U-27, the Miss Apollo for Bruce Ratchford. There is the man, fresh off a APBA Gold Cup win in the Tri-Cities, and next spring he will be inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame. A big honor for the biggest name in our sports history. Most career victories at 68. Tied for the most Gold Cups with 11. And 6 minutes, 35 seconds. We've got one more boat to run through here for our lineup for our Heat 3B, and it's there on the left-hand side of your screen. You see the bright yellow and blue. There it is. The U11, the Miss Flavor Pack. Jamie Nielsen, boat owned by Scott and Shannon Rainey. Get a quick look here at Jamie. There he is, young man out of Gig Harbor, Washington. Loved to play baseball. He was a shortstop, but he'll be the first one to tell you it wasn't for his glove. The guy carried a big stick. He'd like to have a big stick in this heat, take a swing at these other guys, and come home with a first heat victory. How did I walk through that one?
Oh, you did.
How about that?
That was amazing. I just felt like I was at a baseball match right there. I heard I want a hot dog. All right, thank you. Now, Jamie Nielsen, impressive yesterday, right? I mean, really putting down some speed, locked down that inside lane, and really he's always maximizes what he can get out of the boat. And so he's one certainly to watch out for. I mean, he's up against some fast boats, but Jamie Nielsen could 100% pull it off.
Absolutely, he could. So this will be an interesting heat here. It'll be an interesting race. I'm curious to see what we see, if you will, out of the U-27, the Miss Apollo with Dave Vilwalk. Quite honestly, I thought we might see more out of him yesterday. He was solid. He finished solid. He got his points. But you never know with Dave. He's cagey, and he didn't get all those wins, just not knowing what he's doing. So he plays the game. He plays a long game here, and he knows that nothing happens until the final heat this afternoon. Lids are down. Mark, 5 minutes. The boats can come out on the race course now. I'm going to expect that Jamie's going to come and Mike's going to come. Good camera view there. I'm also going to expect Dave's going to sit there for a while. You've been timing him almost. He came out a minute early once yesterday.
Yeah, he's usually about 3 minutes and 10. I mean, not that I'm giving the strategy away. Usually about 3 minutes and 10 seconds he pushes off from the dock. Yeah, he varied it up. He mixed it up a little bit yesterday. They look pretty comfortable holding on to that boat, though, with 4:30 to go.
Yep. It's one thing to have them sitting there at the dock, and you look at the race team, and they are thrashing left and right. But they're not. This is what their plan has been. They just come out here, and they take their time and come out when they want, and Dave's got his strategy. So boats are coming out on the race course. It is our Heat 3B. With 4 minutes and 5 seconds, you're looking at J. Michael Kelly as he is off the lower corner and up the backstretch. Ahead of him is Jamie Nielsen driving the U11, the Miss Flavor Pack. There you get the bird's eye view looking down on the race course. The first boat coming up the back chute there is Jamie, and then behind him is J. Michael Kelly. See if Kelly cuts the course. He does not. He's going to go up there with Jamie and come around behind him. I'm keeping an eye down to the... Oh, here we go. We got it right there on the screen. Have to have a crew member with a hand on the boat at the 5-minute mark. That's not necessary at the 3-minute and 28-second mark as Spider lets go of the back of the boat there. Got a couple of boats coming down the front straightaway. It is our Heat 3B of the 2025 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair on Lake Washington. Now this is interesting because Dave comes out on the race course just as our other two boats go down to the lower corner right in front of Dave. So Dave will come out to the outside of them and behind them. There you see Dave on the left-hand side of the screen. So nothing special right now. Are we going to stay like this? Is Mike comfortable letting Jamie have that inside lane to the left?
Well, I mean, Andrew Tate certainly demonstrated lane 2 is not bad. So it may be a place to go if you feel like you got the boat speed. Jamie Nielsen, on the other hand, had that success on the inside lane before, so maybe he wants to dip at the same fruit today. And yesterday also, Vilwalk tended to let the two insiders fight for it and ride around the outside, looking to just maximize that momentum and boat speed.
Yeah, I thought Dave might do something kind of fun here, but looking at the clock, they really don't have the opportunity here from a time perspective because they're coming up on 2:10. They got to stay behind this start-finish line at the 1 minute 15-second mark. So these guys are going to have to kill a minute, and all three of them are bunched up there. Looking at 1, 2, 3. Nielsen in 1. It's Kelly in 2. Dave says, all right, I'll run you guys down on the outside. Let's see if it stays that way. Coming up on 150.
Now, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but yesterday it was kind of the same scenario, and Dave was on the outside and may have thought that he could run down Nielsen, but Nielsen just never gave an inch.
No.
And he held that inside lane and ended up taking the heat.
Yep, and I know they've changed some things around on the U11 today, and they expect to be stronger today than they were yesterday, so I'm going to kind of keep an eye on them here. I don't think our score-up is in danger of being illegal. I think they can put their foot in it a little bit and come down because we're inside 120, got to kill about 5 seconds, not going to have a problem doing that. 115 right there, certainly a clean score-up. Dave's going to try and do it on the outside. This could be a very, very interesting heat. It's 3B, Heat 3B of the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. It's the last opportunity for our boats to earn points to get themselves in a good position on the front row of the final. Jamie Nielsen's going to be in lane 1. J. Michael Kelly is going to be in 2. Vilwalk going to be on the outside. And Tanner, you've been pointing out the rough water up there at the top end of the course. They just slowly plowed through there the last time.
That is a consideration on that score up. The slower they go, deeper in the water they are, and the bigger the wake. So you can already see that ripple starting to form on the inside. We'll see if it's sitting in the race line or not.
Yeah, if we get that drone shot, we could see it in the last heat. There you see it right there. Now look ahead of the boats there in the lower right corner of the screen. You can see the wake that they left the last time through. So it's a bit soupy up there. But they will come off the corner. They've all been through it. They are off the corner with 12 seconds, and now it's time to put the foot down. Make sure you get to the line, not over it, before the clock strikes 0. We are coming up on 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark appeared to be a clean start from here, but we will get it officially. And J. Michael Kelly with a dynamite start, and he's going to get down there first, but take a look at Jamie Nielsen. He's right with him, Tanner.
Sure enough, you can see the shorter course. We did get a clean start there, although he was right on the mark at the start-finish line. Again, Jamie Nielsen running a slightly shorter course, but J. Michael Kelly running a little bit higher speed on the larger radius, and it pays off down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Kelly's able to open up some water on him there. He got about 3 boat lengths. Dave's back about 2/3 of the rooster tail, so he's back a ways. The race is out front. Look at Jamie Nielsen on an inside lane getting a good line. They're going to come off tied together. If Nielsen's got some acceleration, he needs to put it on now, but Kelly's definitely showing some top end. Kelly's really moving. Kelly has got the first lap in the books with a lead on Jamie Nielsen, and he's got a lot of lane space off to his left. J. Michael Kelly, so he's given himself a lot of room. You see as they go through the corner, there's plenty of lane space between them, and there is J. Michael Kelly again sticking his nose out.
Just so dead even. I mean, the shortened course on the inside lane brings Jamie Nielsen back even and sometimes in the lead each turn, and then J. Michael Kelly with that larger radius, more momentum, more speed, pays off by the time they get to the end of the straightaway.
Top end of the race course. This is the second of 3 times around. Dave Villwalk is back more than a full rooster tail. He is out of this one. It's J. Michael Kelly, and this time he starts to assert himself a little bit. He's got about 5 or 6 boat lengths as he comes down and puts the second of 3 laps in the books. Tanner Faust is just riveted looking at that rough water roll underneath that hydroplane.
Boy, the first half of that straightaway was just butter smooth. He catches some of the ripples at the end. I think Jamie Nielsen may have caught some of that wake on the top of the course as we were talking about as he rides through some of the wake again at the bottom, just allowing J. Michael Kelly to extend that lead.
I think it's time for Jamie Nielsen to say, okay, discretion, the better part of valor, I'm going to let you go, Mike. And Mike Kelly running hard up the backstretch is going to have a rooster tail and a half on the closest boat to him, which is the Miss Flavor Pack. And Jamie Nielsen in second place, although Nielsen's still pushing hard up there. Kelly gives him a ton of room. Driving him legal, as we say, and coming down to pick up the checkered flag, Heat 3B, J. Michael Kelly, the Beacon Electric, the U8. A good run for Mr. Kelly. Second place going to go right there. Jamie Nielsen in the Miss Flavor Pack. The U11 and Dave Villwalk in the U27, the Miss Apollo, will come home in third. So we had some good racing out front. I think Dave was a little tardy at the start. He's going to have to look at those timing marks. You can't be on the outside and be 3 or 4 seconds behind these guys. You're going to get left.
Yeah, J. Michael Kelly right on the mark for the start.
Yes.
I mean, I was actually questioning that a little bit, and so relieved to see that clean start indicator as we look at some of the replays. But a heated race for the first 2 laps. Pretty much dead even, what you would expect to see. Inside lane being a bit shorter around the corners, outside lane being a little faster on the straightaways, and it only took one burble, one little skip from Jamie Nielsen to give J. Michael Kelly the advantage.
Not to look backwards, but I'm going to. Back to the previous heat. Andrew Tate has cleared tech inspection, and we were just told here that all of the racing on the water was clean. And that's the way you like it. So we don't have to worry about any of that now. They just grab that box out of J. Michael Kelly's boat once he gets back to the pit area, and they will put that to the tech truck. Seth Partial will jump on that and tell us yay or nay. But it sure looked good from here.
Yeah, it did. And, Mike's boat hasn't been known to be the fastest straightaway boat, I think, from learning and listening to you. But he certainly showed some speed there in the second lane, and maybe showing everybody out here that, especially with the wind conditions right now, maybe lane 2 is the place to be.
One other thing I noticed on that, you brought it up after the last heat, that Andrew Tate was really flying the boat. I mean, his boat, the 91, was up and out of the water. Mike's boat was solid as a rock in that heat. He had a great boat ride in that one.
It really was. If you go pick around the boats and you see who's doing what, Mike's boat has literally the front canard is split in half.
You're looking right at it right there on the monitor.
And the left side and the right side are at different angles. So they have been fine-tuning exactly how the left side and the right side. You can see right down in front of his cockpit that line there. It's hidden behind the graphic, though. But you can see the right side has a little bit less angle of attack on that wing than the left side does. And that's just fine-tuning how it floats, making sure that it stays flat once it packs the air underneath and starts essentially hovering over the waves. So they've worked hard on on the aerodynamics of that boat, and that heat, it certainly paid off.
So Mike had an extremely good start. Timing marks are right where he wants them. He had a good boat ride. There's part of me that wonders if J. Michael Kelly wouldn't be opposed to, let's run the final right now. I think he likes what he's got right now. Guys, just put some fuel in it. Let's throw this thing out. I'm in a good position. But they will go in and look at the data and have the conversation. We see our Erica Allreed there, right even with the bow of the boat there, the U8. And Erica will be here with J. Michael Kelly very shortly. And she and our camera crew, they're doing a great job jumping on the dock and grabbing our winners as soon as possible. So we will have Erica Allreed as soon as they are set and ready to go, and we'll hear what... Well, let's find out what J. Michael Kelly had to think of the heat. He is standing by with our Erica Allreed. Erica, take it away.
Mike, in almost every conversation we've had, the theme's been the same. You've just needed to find a little more speed. Well, did you find it or did you find something? Because must I say, that was an incredible drive as you drove away from Jamie in the early stages of that one.
Yeah, no, Sundays seem to be our day of finding a little bit more speed. Always, I mean, we're all looking for more speed as the day goes on, but big changes from yesterday. Guys worked hard. They even worked into right all the way up until the time we went out and went testing this morning, made some changes, and boat ride feels amazing right now. The speed is finally coming in, and just super thankful for these guys for working hard and like giving up their free time when they could be doing other things, and they're here just sweating and working hard.
A team effort for sure. A job well done. We look forward to seeing you back out there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Well, a great job by our Erica Allreed. She's just jumping right in, getting drivers right off the deck of the boat. That's when I like to hear the interviews because, as you know, sometimes you get a little bit different raw emotion sometimes. And if it's been maybe if it's a heat where things got a little dicey on the water, you never quite know what you're going to get in a reaction. So great job by Erica. And Mike sounded pretty good. I think he's happy with the boat.
Yeah, he sounds confident. They're making changes every time on these boats, and when they're going in the right direction, you can just hear it in the driver's voice, can't you? So that I think they're moving in the right way, and everybody seems happy about that.
Somebody might come out of here with more points on the weekend. Mike right now is not going to worry about that. He is where he is right now. He's going to be on the front row of the final. He just wants to have that start again. Ooh. And you saw it right there on the replay that we're looking at. Mike nailed the start from lane 2. He's got Jamie off to his left. He left Jamie plenty of room. Here they are coming down a complete lap number 1. Look at Mike fly the boat. He's picking it up, but it's not getting away from him. He's able to control it. Now here's a run down the backstretch. Mike just showing really, really good acceleration. And Tanner, it's a comment we make about boat ride all the time. You can have all the power in the world. If you've got the biggest motor or the most horsepower and it's just perfect, but if you don't have a boat ride and can't use it, it doesn't do you any good.
It really, a lot more stable. Maybe the water conditions a little different than the previous heat, but a lot more stable than the Goodman real estate boat, to be honest. And there you saw the wake that Jamie Nielsen got caught on in lane 1 that just was the nail in the coffin for him. It just set him back far enough that at that point he just had to concede.
So watching again the finals of J. Michael Kelly in the U8, the Beacon Electric on the water. He was the winner. His data acquisition box has already been sent up to the tech truck, and we'll get information as soon as possible from our Seth Partial. And you can't mistake the noise that's going on out on the water behind us. We've got 3 of our vintage hydroplanes from the Hydroplane and Race Boat Museum. The 3 boats that are on the water, the 1979 Squire Shop. You've got the Griffin Budweiser from 1980 is on the water. And you also have Bill Muncey's famous 1977 Atlas Van Lines, the Blue Blaster. And You know a little bit about that Blue Blaster and the Atlas van lines because we had quite an event here on Friday afternoon when Jimmy Johnson, and we went through the whole story, but 7-time NASCAR champion Jimmy Johnson got an opportunity to take the Blaster. That's the boat you're looking at right there, the blue one in the center of those three. Got an opportunity to take that boat out on the Ted Jones race course. It was the culmination of a story that began in 1979 when he was 4 years old and Bill Muncey blew a motor. There you see the blue boat. Bill Muncey blew a motor at 79 in San Diego, and the boat drifted over to the shoreline, and Jimmy Johnson was there. He was 4 years old. They set him on the deck of the boat, and people were out fending the blue boat off the shoreline. And anyway, one thing led to another. Jimmy Johnson became a successful NASCAR driver, got to know the Muncey family, and he got an opportunity to take the blue boat, the one in the middle, one of the most famous hulls in all of hydroplane racing. But the fun part was, and we want to get to this right now, you had an opportunity to catch up with Jimmy Johnson after he was out on the water. We're going to run that interview now. I'm anxious to hear how your conversation went. 7-time NASCAR champion Jimmy Johnson with our Tanner Faust.
I really don't know what I'm going to talk to you about, but as somebody who's one of the few people probably driven more variety of stuff than I have. I mean, everything from Formula One, racing bikes and trucks, now to boats. Was this your first experience over 100 miles an hour in a boat?
So I had some fun river boats growing up.
Yeah.
As soon as I was a professional and got my first paycheck, I bought a 19-foot Eliminator pickle fork.
Wow.
And then when I moved to North Carolina and got my Xfinity ride, first check that I got, I went and bought it was like a 25 or 28-foot DCV.
You're making me feel like a very responsible human being. Literally the first checks you get, you're buying speedboats.
I had to.
When I was watching you do your lap out there, obviously I mean, even from the outside, you can see the comfort zone fill in. You can see, but you can't help. I rode in one or drove one that was a 1950s, and it felt a lot like flying an airplane because the cost for something going wrong was pretty similar. And when you do it solo, did it feel like a solo flight?
I haven't crossed that bridge, but I would have to imagine it feels the same. I mean, I felt very vulnerable, not understanding what the inputs would do, not knowing where the edge was.
Yes.
And everything I've driven before, the faster I go, the more stuck it is.
Yeah.
And this just kept wanting to lift more and more.
It's not like that.
No.
No, I mean, what was the driver experience? Does it relate to anything that you've driven before?
Yeah, I think so. With Chip Henhauer kind of walking me through the steps, he did bring a comparison to off-road racing and how the boat's going to move around on the straights and in the turn, and to just kind of let it do its thing. But I was really surprised just how raw. Like once I got up onto a plane and you could feel the throttle control or throttle response. Like, wow, that's really 2,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
And then corner entry to really turn in hard when I had some speed, and to feel a boat kind of bite and start hopping, that was wild.
Well, you averaged over 97 miles an hour, which means you're doing 150 on the straightaways. Which is, I mean, it almost doesn't, they feel so stable once they're out of the water, right?
Yeah.
Is this an industry that you hang around or keep an eye on? Have you kept watch on hydroplane racing over the years, or is it kind of a close the loop and check the box?
I'm a huge fan of all motorsports, and if I can find it on television or find it streaming, I'm always tuning in. So, I mean, I hope this isn't a one and done for me. I've had a few other offers to try out a turbine boat and some other stuff, so I'd love to come back.
I've turned that one down before, I will
Have
say.
you really?
Mainly because I don't know what it's going to feel like at the edge. Well, I won't know when the edge is, and I know that the rougher the water is, the faster you have to go. Otherwise, you start hitting the sharp end of the bumps. And it's like, that doesn't make me feel great. And then when I sat in one, the little compartment to get out of, none of those guys can get out of that thing. But, it's neither here nor there.
I might change my mind then.
I'm not trying to, you do have oxygen though. I will say that, and it feels better to sit in that one than it does the open cockpit. That's for sure. Like even just watching you go around, like when you watch Senna in an old Formula One car, right? They're sticking.
So
it's like they're hanging off the front of the thing. I drove one of Senna's cars. It's 91. the championship winning car, and that one, head going around just like the old school, Formula Ford stuff.
Yeah.
But last question. Extremely exciting sport to watch. This is my first experience this season. I just came in because I remember seeing Miss Budweiser rip around. I remember thinking, how did this sport not, why is it still kind of not in the mainstream necessarily? But how do you think this sport moves forward? I've learned so much in the last 3 or 4 weekends of commentating for this sport. To your point, the festival part of it and the family aspect is so critical.
Yeah.
But how does it move forward and take the next level?
I think it starts with the ownership group deciding, what they really want to be. And I think the off-road industry has thrived and come back, and it really is a place for this. There's plenty of professionalism, but it's not a place where you're going to get a return on investment. It's not a sponsor-driven environment, although there are sponsors there, but it's a lot of hobbyists that have been successful in life and want to have that outlet. And it feels like that's kind of where this is right now, where they're creating a charter system or some kind of franchise model. Yeah. And with that structure, there is a pathway to profitability. It's a long road and it takes time, but 2 different spaces and understanding where they want to be. And if it's in the hobbyist space, I think there's a very bright future for the industry. They want to go the other way. The world is so digital. There's only a few analog experiences left, and this could be that as well if they chose to take that road.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the time, Jim. Really good to see you again.
Appreciate it. Great to see you.
Great to see you around also. Thank you.
So fun.
That was a terrific interview, young man. That was well done, and it was what I was impressed with right out of the box was a couple of you gearheads and drivers just sitting back talking racing.
Yeah, it was amazing to see his experience. He's one of the drivers I've always looked up to, not because of the championships and the accomplishments, but because of the variety of motorsport that he's tackled, from IndyCar to off-road to dirt bikes. And I've always wanted my career to go that road and to try different disciplines and be a student of driving altogether, not just of one type of driving.
Long. Let's give him a big wave. That's
it was great to learn about that. I love some of his wisdom applied to ways to grow.
Absolutely.
Sports, we're going to get our Formula lights onto the water. We're going to get the Formula Ones new demographics
off
and
the water here quickly. Once the one doesn't carry makes it back into the canal, we're going to have last few drivers from Formula Lights out
and
of the canal onto the race course. They're going to do their hot
publicity that
laps.
was brought to the sport this weekend with that particular
get
event that you were part of there
15 minutes
on Friday, I was glad to hear him say that he hope it doesn't end there. And he's had a couple of offers maybe to step in another boat. And that was an interesting conversation between the two of you. You're not happy with that little hatch right down there at the bottom. Should the boat get upside down?
I didn't think that part of the interview was going to make it into the final cut, to be honest with you. There was a lot of me talking, which wasn't the point. But I think you don't get to have a career like Jimmy Johnson has had just by always winging it. You've got to be calculated. And my career's been fairly long also, and the elements of being fairly calculated about what risks you take on and how you take them on is what keeps you around.
Well, I hope we get him in one of those boats one time, and I hope I'm there, and so are you, because then maybe he can come back to the dock and say, Tanner, you got to go do this, and we can get you out there. I mean, he knows the feel of the boat now. He knows what the feel is to go into the corner with a skid fin and feel it grab. Yeah, it's a whole different thing with the turbine, and it's a bigger fin and all that, but I have to think there's some similarities. Maybe we, H1 Unlimited, can make that happen. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, let's do that.
So H1 Unlimited, if there's anybody out there that might be, part of the board of directors or something that could bring that up at our next board meeting, which will be 2 Wednesdays from now, maybe we can have that discussion.
You don't even need to do it through it. I mean, you're going to be there, right?
I will be there. So we're getting ready to check out here a little bit and have a lunch break and an air show break. But before we do, let's just take a quick look back at our racing that went on earlier today. We had our Heat 3A and our Heat 3B. Those are the last 2 heats before the final. That's what's left for us to do, and it's where we have been running 3 laps. When we go to the final heat, we're going to run 5. So that's going to be a difference. You have been talking quite a bit and spot on. picking out the points on the race course
Marketing
that are
Group,
have
accelerating
so far
brands for
been
over
the
35
roughest
years.
and the water
From developing
conditions.
some of the most
We're going to
famous
really
boat and
mess
race
that
team
up and
graphics
make it
that look
worse
fast
because we're
to
going to go
websites
5
that
laps
run
instead of
fast.
3,
Motor
and we're going to
Marketing
have
Group
6
is your
boats on the
one-stop
water
marketing
instead of
shop
3
for
and
branding,
4.
vehicle wraps, websites,
It's going to
photography,
get fun.
and print
And
design.
Get hectic.
They do it all
It's going to get
professionally for
hectic
a
in the
great price.
5-minute
Check them
milling
out
period.
online at
It's going to be busy because now we're going to have Corey and Mike
Seaway
and
Marine,
Dave,
the Formula
and
Light sponsor
Andrew,
here in 2025 on the Formula One
Jamie,
Powerboat Championship
and
Series.
It's
Operates out of a
it's going to
62,000
get
square
very
foot
interesting
warehouse
as we're
that is
looking
packed
back
with
here on
current OEM
some of the
parts,
racing that went on
aftermarket
earlier
parts,
today.
and
What we saw
vintage
from Andrew
hard-to-find
Tate
parts.
was
They ship over
he's got a big
100,000
target on
packages
his back. He's
all
the
over
boat
the
to beat
United
right now
States,
as you see him
providing
fly on the
same-day
boat coming down the front straightaway there. Andrew Tate in the U91, you're going to have to solve that puzzle to win the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair.
Certainly setting the speed bar, not doing it, completely without effort. I mean, you can see risk that he takes down the straightaway there, but certainly has the speed, and he's shown that he can do that from lane 2 or lane 3. But so far, a clean weekend, and he'll just be focusing forward on what he needs to do to complete the maximum points for the weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to be real anxious to see as you see him fly on the boat there, and you were right on top of it. The boat's getting up in his face a little bit. Brent was talking about a boat driving uphill and driving downhill. Some of those comments about the boat getting up in your face, and that's when the front's lifting up. And he's really feeling those rollers there. And whereas in the subsequent heat with J. Michael Kelly, it just seemed like he got a whole lot better boat ride. So they may be addressing that over in the 91 camp. Here's a quick look back at our Heat 3B. J. Michael Kelly was the recipient of 400 points in a first-place finish. Jamie Nielsen was on the inside lane. There's J. Mike in lane 2. Dave just cruising around on the outside. But you see Dave there being tardy at the start. Gonna have to. That kind of a start's not going to get you a victory in the final.
Yeah, I did. This is actually just before the start, and J. Michael Kelly just nailed the actual line right there.
There it is.
Had just a bit more speed that Jamie Nielsen was able to get into that first corner ahead, but Jamie Nielsen putting that inside shorter track length to work and pulling ahead at the exit of each corner and then losing that lead by the end of the straight. It really was a great back and forth for 2 solid laps.
You know, I've seen that clip that they just showed of the 2 boats coming out of the bottom end of the race course there, and I think it's on lap number 2. Yeah, it was, down at the bottom end. They got really close together. It almost looked like perhaps they swapped a little bit of paint there between the 2. If I had to bet, I don't think they did, but boy, they got close there. I saw it during the racing and thought, maybe it wasn't, but now I've seen that clip twice. They got awfully close coming out of the bottom end of the race course on turn 2, but we heard almost immediately after the race that everything was clean on the water, so no issue there.
It may have been
good.
A moment that Jamie had to lift out of even. I mean, it's just hard to say from here, but you certainly can't see how smooth JMK on especially the first half of that straightaway is. That boat really giving him a good ride, and maybe that translates into speed in the final.
Well, we saw a smile on Mike's face when he talked with our Erica Allreed, and glad to hear you were down talking to most of the drivers this morning, getting insight on what they hope to do. And so that was how it ran today in our Heat 3A and Heat 3B. We had the U91. Andrew Tate got a win. Nobody's touched him. They've been top qualifier. He's gone 3 for 3 in the heats. Now the big one will come out with the big trophy at the end. J. Michael Kelly stepped up, picked up a first place and 400 points in his Heat 3B. We're going to sit back and we're going to run through all of the points and make sure we know who is going to be who on the front row. And we have been told now that J. Michael Kelly has cleared tech inspection. I wanted to check on that before we broke away. So I believe everybody has cleared tech inspection. Certainly the 91 has the victor in 3A. Mike has the victor in 3B. So I think our field is set. I think we're ready to go racing for the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. And I'm trying to... we do not know yet about the 27 as far as clearing tech inspection, but we will have that as soon as we come back. But you and I are going to step away for right now. You're going to get some chow?
Heck yeah. So yes. I can hear my stomach through the can.
We can too. We're about to put a headset on it.
You should. Let's do that.
So for Tanner Faust and Brad Luce, Erica Allreed, and Brent Hall down in the pit area, we're going to step away. Don't go away. We will come back at 2 o'clock And when we come back at 2, we will be gearing up for the final heat for our Grand Prix America hydroplanes. Following that, it's the H1 Unlimited Final for the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. Don't go away. We'll be back at 2 o'clock.
H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes.
The world's fastest race boats.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Seafair Weekend Festival, featuring the Boeing Air Show and the Apollo Mechanical Cup.
Wow, really?
Test 1, 2. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 76th Seafair Weekend Festival here on Lake Washington in Seattle. My name's Rob Ryder, and with me,
I'm Brian Westbrook. I am very proud to be here, a local guy, grew up in the Pacific Northwest, and this means a lot to me personally. My dad used to work at Boeing. My dad was in the Air Force. I fly Alaska Airlines, all big sponsors, all big parts of this festival. It's great to be out here. It's great to be on Lake Washington. What a gorgeous view. We've got a lot of great things going on Lake Washington. You know, Rob, there's a full day of activities here. It's not just about the air show, but there's Apollo Mechanical Cup H1 Unlimited Racing. We have the Grand Prix hydroplane racing. And I think there's something happening above the lake. You want to tell us about that?
we sure have a great show in the air as well. So this makes it a double threat, and we've got a great group of aerobatic performers, including Melissa Burns. She's going to fly an American-built unlimited aerobatic airplane called the Edge 540. And we've got so much more. Helicopters, we've got aircraft from the military, including the F-16 Fighting Falcon, the F-35B from the United States Marine Corps, and we also have, what's the name of that?
Gosh, the green dodecahedrons.
No. Yeah, that's right. Of course, the United States Navy's Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angels from Naval Air Station Pensacola, Florida, and they will be tearing up the skies. The skies are a little bit not like what we had hoped for, Brian. We've got some fires in the area, and that's causing a little bit of not burning the marine layer off. So what's going on with the fires?
Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of area fires that we have to worry about this time of year. They come through from Canada and all over. But the good news is we've seen over the last couple of days the weather has cleared up. The skies have parted. We're hoping that'll happen again today, because when the Blue Angels hit, that blue sky, the Blue Angels, it's just going to be incredible. And I'm already having goosebumps just thinking about being here, bringing it to all of you.
Indeed. Now, let's take a look at something that happened just a little bit earlier today. We talked about helicopters. There is not a boater out here who doesn't depend on your United States Coast Guard. And we had a demonstration of one of their aircraft. It's the MH-65 Dolphin with that special Fenstrom tail rotor that keeps the noise. Or four-person crew, I should say, in this medium-range helicopter. Has a top speed of about 140 miles per hour, and it is involved in a lot of search and rescue stuff. Watch him as it comes in. As we watch the MH-65 Dolphin helicopter come in, there are 4 crew members. We have an aircraft commander, the pilot, who sits in the right seat in the front, and co-pilot in the left front seat. There are 2 other crew persons aboard. One is a flight mechanic, and the job of the flight mechanic is to make sure that everything behind the pilots is working, including, as you see right there, on the left, that is a very, very important part of it. That's a hoist. It can support 600 pounds, can raise and lower that, anybody or anything attached to it, at about 200 feet per minute. Now, as it comes in, the flight mechanic will help direct the pilots in toward the survivor, who has gotten on channel 16A and called for Mayday or whatever it happens to be. But this is pretty amazing. They've got about 100 of these around in the fleet nationally.
And there's about 3,000 Coast Guard men and women in the Northwest region. And you mentioned boaters, Channel 16. I've done a lot of boating in my day, not only Lake Washington behind us, Lake Union. You get on to Puget Sound. We have a large waterway in the Pacific Northwest Northwest. We rely on the Coast Guard to keep us safe and to be there to bail us out when there is an emergency. We also have one of the largest ferry systems in the world, certainly in North America, taking passengers over to Bremerton and Bainbridge Island daily. Commuters rely on that. Coast Guard officers in both boats and in the air keep those vessels safe. And we have a large cruise port. This is busy cruise port season, so the Coast Guard is there keeping those vessels, those large cruise ships that can hold thousands of people, whether it be Pier 91 or Pier 66, they keep them safe as well, whether they're escorting them in and out of Elliott Bay, or in this case, as you can see in this demo that we're watching on your screen, in the event something doesn't go well, something happens that maybe was unexpected, they can hoist them out of the water using that technology with that very, very highly skilled and professionally trained crew that can do such amazing maneuvers. It's great to watch.
Now we see the flight mechanic there in the doorway. Also in there is another person, the rescue swimmer. Mm-hmm. Now there's a couple of ways to get that rescue swimmer into the water. And as they hover, as they hover there right out in front of the crowd, they're going to lower the aircraft down to within 15 feet of the water. And he can either be, or she can either be lowered by the hoist or just jump right out and into the water to find and rescue, work with the survivor and assess the health condition of the survivor, and then figure out different ways to pick that person up and get the person back to safety. Here we go. Just about ready to see him drop in. Only about a 15-foot drop, and yet underneath that rotor system on that MH-65 Dolphin, they're hurricane force winds.
Yeah, that's a dangerous activity there, something that you do not want to try at home. I will also tell you that I knew that was the rescue swimmer because they're wearing fins. That was the dead giveaway there. But the good news is here, not only are they professional at what they're operating, dives right into the water there.
Watch for the hand to come up.
Yep.
You see that? That means I'm okay.
I'm okay. It's like the thumbs up, if you will. And obviously swimming over toward the person or items that need to be rescued, person or persons. It's important to get there quickly, to get a buoy on that person, to get them some air, and then, if necessary, hoist them right up. They may also bring other resources from the water. This is just an incredible thing to see, and this is a fantastic time to see it and to appreciate. One, wear your life jacket when you're out on the water. Make sure that you have a safety plan. There's a lot of different equipment that you can have, even if you have the smallest boats, to make sure that you can help these rescue swimmers in those first few minutes. Here's that thumbs up.
Now I want you to look carefully at this. We're going to look here as they get lifted up. There's several ways to get them lifted up, either in a basket with the mesh basket, or a litter, which is like a wooden cot if that survivor is unable to be okay and be ambulatory, but they can get that person way back. Channel 16, the U.S. Coast Guard, 15,000 miles of coastline and inland waterways they take care of, and they are the smallest branch of the United States military. You can put all the members of the Coast Guard active duty and reserve into Yankee Stadium.
And, of course, not with the Yankees playing. I feel like that would be a bad idea. Or as we say here, the Seattle Mariners at T-Mobile Park. You could put them all in there as well. Also, I want to give a shout-out to the other units here in the Pacific Northwest that help. Look, I love that wave. That's great. Like, okay, here we go. And this, again, just the demo that you're watching on the screen happened a little bit ago. We also have the Seattle Harbor Patrol, Mercer Island Harbor Patrol. All of these agencies work together to keep boaters safe in the Northwest.
All right, now let's take a look at what's coming in here. This is only a handful of times that we're going to see this airplane because there are so few of them around. This is a Canadian Boeing Canada built World War II PBY-5A amphibian Catalina patrol bomber PBY for Consolidated Aircraft, making a landing. This is really spectacular footage that we get to see, and it is controlled on just like a boat. It is an amazing flying boat, very small. But this particular PBY Catalina actually saw World War II combat and sank a U-boat. And they did it with depth charges. Even though the U-boat was firing at this aircraft, they were able to sink it. The Army Air Force had some of these as well that they used for search and rescue, water rescue of their pilots. But it's pretty amazing what the airplane has been able to do, and there are very few flying. We are seeing a very rare demonstration of the Catalina.
Yeah, delivered in 1943 to the Royal Canadian Air Force, and just versatility of amphibian, but also an air vehicle. You can see there, this is fun to watch for one, and also just look at that, the Princess of the Stars there in the waters of Lake Washington with an exciting demonstration that kind of puts both, for me anyway, puts both the air show and the water show, sort of pulls Seafair all together in one exhibit right here. Just an absolutely incredible, and as you mentioned, very rare. It's a treat to be able to see this operating, to be able to see this demonstration, and to watch the just majestic nature of this aircraft, this PBY-5A Catalina, soar through the water, but also be able to take off into the air as needed.
The A designation indicated amphibian. Not all of the Catalinas had landing gear to allow them to land on the land. One of the crew members, though, is a guy named Chad Hill, and he is an artist who has painted nose art on many, many airplanes in from World War II all over the country. And he's at the museum. He'll be at the museum today. And we'll be working later on and demonstrating how he painted the nose art. It was a big deal back in World War II to identify each and every airplane with special nose art, to give it a name and an identity and a sense of pride for the crew.
Definitely a sense of pride, and really sort of show that commitment to their aircraft and to the purpose and to the missions that they're flying. To make it, I don't want to say fun, because it's certainly not necessarily the most enjoyable task to be in combat with these aircraft, but really just to give it a sense of community, a sense of camaraderie. And I will say, the Museum of Flight, if you haven't been over there at Boeing Field, definitely check it out. I've been a member of the museum for a number of years. It's fantastic, all of the rotating exhibits that they have. You can actually go inside the space shuttle cabin trainer. You know, we were a little disappointed that we didn't get an actual space shuttle, but you can walk inside the cabin trainer. So it's kind of a nice treat, if you will, there at the Museum of Flight Boeing.
As we see it, in those days, we're looking at an aircraft that had a 104-foot wingspan. Now, that was just about 16 feet shy of the length of the Wright brothers' first flight back in 1903 in December out at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in Kill Double Hills. But the airplane weighs a lot. It's 63 feet long, and the engines that power it are only 1,200 horsepower radial engines, and gives it a top speed of only about 175 miles an hour. It was not a fast mover.
Yeah, I can almost do that in my car. I don't, but I almost can do that in my car. It is interesting to see some of these different aircraft. This one, 162 Squadron, Reykjavik, March 1943, with pilot and first officer Tom Cook. Lots of just great facts and figures about this. This is one that you can go down a rabbit hole of your favorite search engine and learn more about and watch some of these videos, but here we are having it here to show you. And there's the beautiful I-90 bridge right behind you with the light rail lines running right across it. So you can just, if you were wondering if this is here in Seattle, there's your proof right there.
The PBY was also very important in the Battle of Midway back in June of 1942, shortly, just 6 months after the United States entered World War II against Japan and Germany and Italy, the Axis powers. But they were able to spot some of the Japanese fleet when they were trying to attack the northern Hawaiian end of the Hawaiian chain in the Midway Islands. But this PBY is going to do a takeoff for us when we get it spooled up. This is going to be an amazing thing to watch, as they have to plow through the water and, just like any other boat, get it up on the step.
Yep.
And once they do, then they'll be able to get off the water with the surface tension broken up a little bit and give us a flyby. Again, as you said, Brian, this is a rare treat.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that you come to the Seafair Weekend Festival to see, this sort of demonstration, this sort of activity. And a lot of the pilots that you know and that you're friends with in the industry, they love coming here to Seattle because it is such a unique air show. The opportunity to be able to demonstrate on a different surface. We're not over a runway. We're not over a river. We have a very large lake to use as our canvas to paint these pictures, to paint these, and to tell these stories of historic aircraft, such as the PBY-5A Catalina that you're looking at there on your screen, built by Boeing of Canada.
And started production back in 1936. It's an old airplane. They continued production through 1945, and they have now gotten in a position where they can take off into the wind, have plenty of room here on Lake Washington to get the throttles shoved forward there up above and watch as it gets ready to break the water. Up on the step.
Absolutely.
H1 Unlimited.
There were PBYs that were made for the Royal Air Force. They were the first military aircraft delivered by transatlantic flight during the war, and it is airborne.
Look at that. Shaking off a little of the water as it gets into the air there above the skies of Lake Washington. See some of the boaters down there in our safety area there, kind of patrol boats there. Look at that, gorgeous.
In the first 8 months of 1943, PBYs actually saved over 160 airmen in the Solomon Islands campaign alone. So the PBY was indeed a lifesaver. They would literally land in the water, get their rescue people to get those pilots who were in the raft or in the water and get them home and get them safe.
And Rob, we've got a lot more air show to get to. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The Seattle Seafair trivia question is brought to you by Tulalip Resort Casino. Which interstate highway is the longest? Is it I-10 running from Jacksonville, Florida to Santa Monica, California? I-90 running from Boston to Seattle? I-94 running from Billings, Montana to Port Huron, Michigan? Or I-35 running from Laredo, Texas to Duluth, Minnesota on the shores of Lake Superior? The answer when we return. The Seattle Seafair trivia answer is brought to you by Tulalip Resort Casino. If you selected I-90, you're right. Clocking in at just under 3,100 miles, Interstate 90 between Seattle and Boston is America's longest interstate highway. I-90 isn't just a long road. It's a vital artery connecting 13 states. Major cities like Chicago and Cleveland also benefit from its convenient access through a network of 16 auxiliary routes. All right, welcome back to the Seattle Seafair Weekend Festival featuring the Apollo Mechanical Cup. Hello, everybody. I'm Nate Brown. I'm right here with a young man you all know in Seattle. His name is Steve David. And thank you, Steve, for flying all the way across country to be here with us this weekend.
Nate, what a pleasure. You and I raced against each other for decades, and here we are working together to cover really one of the finest races in the United States. 75 years of history this weekend.
Pretty crazy. And for the second year of the Apollo Mechanical Cup, we sure appreciate it.
Absolutely. I mean, we got obviously air shows and race boats in all different classes, including our little kids in the J Stock, the Grand Prix boats, Unlimited's vintage. So it's going to be a packed day of racing.
It is. It's where it all starts. The J's are awesome. So it's going to be fancy. It's going to be fun. It's a little cloudy right now, but it means for great racing, perfect water conditions, and we're going to have a great time here in Seattle. So again, this is wonderful.
It's great, and for me, this is freezing. I'm a Florida boy. This is
I'm surprised.
60 degrees. Goosebumps. But we raced here a lot of years when it was cold. And what a historic place to be.
Oh, it was great. I won it in 2001. You won it in, did you ever win this race?
4 years.
I know.
4 times, man.
Rub it in.
It's the only
rub it in.
But we raced against a lot of great racers, and this race, for the people that live here especially, this is their race. Most of the crews are based here. The teams are based here. And winning at Madison and winning here for me were highlights. I know for you, and you won the Gold Cup in Detroit, so
this race is my first win, and it was Seafair in my hometown, and it was pretty amazing. So, yeah, it's all history. We all have a lot of history here. Everybody out here has got something to talk about for boat races, and we're really glad the air show is here too as well.
Yes.
It used to be all hydroplanes and blues, and now we have all kinds of different things for different people, and it's wonderful to have all these different items going on here at Seafair.
Absolutely.
We're coming up here for 1A,
sponsored by NetTech.
We had a lot of racing this weekend already, and right now we're going to recap Heat 1A. We had J. Michael Kelly, Corey Peabody, Jamie Nielsen, and Andrew Tate, and we fought for lanes, and here we go. So you can see this was the start coming down.
Jamie Nielsen's got lane 1 nailed down. He did that last week in Tri-Cities. He's got that. Lane 2's J. Michael.
Yep, this is the start of the heat right now. You can see who broke the clock. It was a good start, and away they went. Coming down for the first race, and J. Michael Kelly is just hanging it out for sure.
And we got a new team in this heat too, the 91. Tater's driving now for Bruce Ratchford Racing, and sponsored by Goodman Real Estate.
And J. Michael Kelly did a great job of staying outside a little bit of Jamie, so he could maintain that inside lane, and really did well.
And we got to say, GMK is in this race because of a bit of an injury on the team, right? When one of the driver's spouses was injured yesterday, we certainly are wishing the best for her, and hope she's able to watch her husband race today.
Yeah, for sure.
So Tate's got it nailed. Look at the ride on the back straight.
He just had it done. That boat is very, very fast. He was the top qualifier here again. And he's just got to stay in his own head and not let anybody else get under it for the rest of the races.
And the wind is really just right for them. This boat, by the way, would have been the last Budweiser, head burning out past prematurely. And Mike Hansen and the team have sure dialed this thing in, but not to say that they don't have these other guys to compete with in the final heat.
And that was the finish right there. It was the Goodman Real Estate followed by the Beacon Plumbing. It's a replay right now. You can see this was the start of the race.
Start right on the money. J. Michael has got this start.
Wired it, yeah.
He knows his stuff.
Look how loose he has there coming around. The skid fin you can see, that's what holds the boats in the corner.
Yeah.
You can see that hanging down, but look how much he aired it out.
Comes down level, and if you notice, we got what we call vortex generators if you're in aviation on that front canard to help with the airflow over the canard. And what a difference.
Here is the results, the official results of Heat 1A. It was Andrew Tate in the Goodman Real Estate, J. Michael Kelly in Beacon Plumbing, and Jamie Nielsen in the Flavor Pack, and Corey Peabody in the Beacon Line.
Yeah, and Corey got taken out in that first turn, went through that rooster tail, messed up the boat.
The non-trip spray kind of caught him from Jamie, and then you couldn't see anything, and he didn't hold the arc right, and he slid through Andrew Tate's tail, and it took the boat out pretty good.
The H1 Unlimited Heat 1B is sponsored by Oberta.
Here we have the Apollo, great sponsor of Seafair too as well. It was really great to have them come along board, Bruce Ratchford.
And this heat sponsored by Alberto. I've got a special tie in there. They were my sponsor.
There was J. Michael Kelly in the U-27 and the U-12.
And young Gunnar O'Farrell in the 21.
Mr. Mullet.
Yep, this is and they're third generation racer. This is going to be a good heat of racing. Again, the inside's got this nailed. Try to get around that guy in lane 1. You've got to have 5 miles an hour. So if you give it up, particularly Bernard, it's going to be tough to go around him. Jeff really nailed this start.
He really did. It's really pretty good deck to deck here going into that first corner.
And that's the one. If you can get through that one clean, it's yours.
Pretty much, especially in the 3-boat heat.
Yeah, Dave Milwaukee. Dave, of course, won the Gold Cup last week, and our oldest Gold Cup winner, most Gold Cup winners, tied with Chip Hanauer, but driving a great race. You'd not know he's 71 years old.
Right, and you know, it was really good for J. Michael Kelly to win this heat too as well. I mean, Jeff Bernard, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To win this heat as well, because he kept them out there. They needed the points. They had bad luck last weekend, Jeff did, and it was really great to see him pull this one out.
Yeah, the boat was tore up, and Tom Anderson and the crew did a heck of a job. That's the former Budweiser Hull, but boy, they really did a great job. And Dave's driving the old boat that I used to drive. That's the old Oboy Alberta.
The other thing you don't know too, they blew a prop, and the whole bottom of the boat was out. So in 5 days, they put it all back together again and got it back on the water.
And you've been there rebuilding boats that your drivers destroyed, right?
There's a finish right now. So
great job, Jeff.
For Jeff Bernard, Ram Trucking U12.
Jeff and his family are down here with us, and it's exciting to see him do well in the back of the seat of an Unlimited.
And Mr. Consistency there, Dave Vilwalk, did a great job, consistent in his starts, and he got second and third place was
to start again, and look at Jeff nail it. Boom.
And that's a quite a bit of difference there.
Yeah, and you know, you're traveling at almost 280 feet a second, so to nail it that way takes a lot of skill.
That's good. Some great shots. You can see some of these replays. You can see the spread of the boats there in that shot, and it really was kind of a parade on this particular race.
Yeah. You know, you got to get this production going through. What they're doing with drones now to bring us over the
Oh, wow, that's great. And here is the official results. Jeff Bernard, Ram Trucking in first, Gunnar O'Farrell, and this is Gunnar O'Farrell in second, Jamie Nielsen.
Jameson third. We got to talk about Jamie later, because what heck of a guy. A dad, could have been a baseball pro.
Yeah, graphics were off.
Yeah.
It's okay, it's all good.
It's all right, it's good, but Jamie Nielsen.
And we're going to toss now to Bridget in the pits. Bridget.
Thanks, guys. I hope you're having as much of a fun time as I am down here. I'm from King 5, and I'll be bringing you all the action live here from the pits and all the other cool stuff that's going on at Seafair this weekend. And I want to make sure that we mention that these races are not possible without Barnhart Cranes. Again, they are responsible for putting the boats in and out of the water. This would not be possible without them.
It has for many years. Seafair Hydroplane Race Weekend kicks off early for the crew at Barnhart Cranes. Their work begins Wednesday, when 4 large cranes are driven in and carefully positioned at Stan Sayers Memorial Park, ready to support the teams by lifting the boats in and out of the water. For years, Barnhart has proudly served as the official crane sponsor of Seafair, providing 4 strategically placed cranes to support the teams, each serving multiple race teams throughout the weekend. Scott LaJoy, a crane operator who's been with Barnhart for 10 years, says it's a one-of-a-kind experience.
So being out at Seafair is really unique, because not a lot of crane operators get to do this kind of thing. So some guys really like it. Like, I've done it a bunch of years, and in a regular day-to-day crane operator work schedule, you don't do stuff like this all the time. So for us, it's once a year. Some guys enjoy it, some guys don't. I did it, it was fun. But because it couldn't get busy. There was guys there last night pulling motors till 7:30 last night. There's a demand for it. So they get ready for the races.
Safety and precision are critical. The race teams depend on Barnhart's skilled crew to transfer the boats smoothly and securely before and after every heat. It's not just about lifting the boats. The water itself adds a whole new set of challenges.
What's unique about it is there's suction on the boat in the water, so that initial pull-up, he'll have to pull a little harder, or he doesn't want to jump the boat up. And again, have an experience, and just makes it look smooth. Big shout out to the Barnhart crew. If it wasn't for them and how flawlessly they operate the cranes, it would make our job so much easier. And once you start working with them, it's just like you've been working with them forever. It makes the weekend go just great.
Throughout the Seafair weekend, Barnhart's team will lift the boats in and out dozens of times. The hydroplane races simply couldn't happen without them.
If you didn't have a crane, we wouldn't be racing out there. So a big thank you to Barnhart.
Hey, H1 Unlimited Hydro Hydroplane racing from Seafair Weekend Festival is brought to you by Apollo Mechanical Contractors.
As we see the hydroplanes coming out of the water.
You're watching the Seafair Weekend Festival, featuring the Boeing Air Show.
There you see it. A very, very small airplane known as the microjet. Tory Ward is piloting this very airplane right now at speeds of almost 300 miles an hour. How about that, Brian?
Absolutely incredible. And you know, I love these air shows. You can see it from all over the region, whether it be Seattle or Bellevue. Look at that jet flying through the air. This is an absolutely amazing microjet. What a talented pilot, not only just to be able to do that, but just to be able to make it look good and make it look seamless. It's so incredible.
The idea of experimental aircraft and amateur-built aircraft is taken advantage of by some pilots and very, very patient pilots who will spend years building these airplanes. This particular one, the Subsonics JSX-2, was built in part and assembled then over the course of 1 or 2 years, depending on how much time the owner and builder has. But Tory put this one together, and what did he say about getting into this thing, Brian?
You're getting into it. It's like, well, he said it's like no other airplane. But I love that Tory Ward has been flying for 40 years. Got the bug when he was at age of 2, and a lot of us have, we see kids coming on the airplane and we think, oh, they're going to be a pilot someday. On his 10th birthday, he took his first flight lesson and was hooked. After finishing high school, he became a pilot, and I think this is we can see it now. 40 years of flying, and you can do this.
14,000 hours, 165 different types of airplanes. Now, this one has a wingspan of only 18 feet. It's 16 feet long. It weighs less than about 500 pounds, and when he gets in, he doesn't sort of climb into it. He wears it, right?
He just wears it like a suit. Calls it like Iron Man, right? If you think of Iron Man from the movies, kind of wearing it. The skin is made entirely out of 0.02 sheet aluminum, just slightly thicker than a Coca-Cola can.
That's right. But the way that it is built, and it's called semi-monocoque, and it is stretched across a frame, and it gives it incredible strength. So he can experience in excess of 6 times the force of gravity in this airplane.
If you've ever worn an outfit or a costume in theater and they have to sew it on you, I think that's what happens. I think he's just standing there and the aircraft is built around him. It's that tiny, it's that small to really just be able to wear the airplane and to be able to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. The motor weighs 40 pounds. It generates just shy of 260 pounds of thrust, and it has been used as an auxiliary power unit on Russian aircraft. It's the PBS Czech-built TJ-100 engine, and it powers other small jets as well. But this one is just perfect for the microjet that Tory Ward is flying. You guys are from
Tarzana, California. I love that. And here's another fun fact for you. The engine consumes 40 gallons of Jet A per hour through a fuel line smaller than the straws that we've outlawed in Washington State because, we got to save the turtles. But the McDonald's straw size fuel line, I'm just envisioning like sipping that Coke that came out of the can that I poured into the cup, and I'm sipping it through this straw.
Yeah.
Like these visuals are just absolutely incredible. And Tory can feel the fuel shifting around against his back on every maneuver. His cockpit is only 15 inches off the ground. Wing has 11 and a half inches of ground clearing during landing. Yep. Not going any over moon patrols on this. You want a smooth surface for that 11 and a half inch ground clearance.
There's no doubt about that. And as he puts this aircraft through its paces here at over Lake Washington, he is experiencing sometimes 6 times the force of gravity. In other words, we stand on Earth with 1 G. If I'm 200 pounds, that's 1 G. At 2 Gs, I'd weigh 400 pounds. He can weigh as much as 6 Gs on this. And as he flies it, it is tricked out as really fancy tricked out inside with an autopilot. It's got what they call FADEC, the full authority digital engine control. He's got glass displays in there. If he wants, he's even got an oxygen system so he can go up to close to 30,000 feet as he now dives down within about 100 feet of the surface of the water. Now, because of our low ceilings today, the Federal Aviation Administration does not allow any of us to go through the clouds or into the clouds. They can go up, and because this is special waivered airspace, Brian, they can go up and they say you can touch the clouds, but you can't go in them. But he could actually do a loop and go up to 6,000 feet in this thing just as part of his normal demonstration. But if he wants to go up higher, he's got an oxygen system so he can survive up at high altitudes without any difficulty at all.
I'm not quite the 6'3" or over 200 pounds, but Tory is one of the tallest pilots flying the microjet. And this microjet is one of the smallest in the world currently in production. The one you see here comes from kits partly built from the factory, 1 to 2 years complete and make ready for flight. And I know Tory has done a far, far, far more job at getting it ready for flight than that. Some incredibly fun, just like, look at this. And you're talking about taking it up to 30,000 feet with oxygen. I'm going to stick to my Boeing commercial airliners. I think I'm not getting in that going up to 30,000 feet, oxygen or that.
That is Tory Ward from Tarzana, California in the Subsonics JSX-2.
Incredible.
King 5 and Kong are proud to sponsor Seafair. Stream live on King 5 Plus. Download the free app on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV devices. Today's airshow broadcast from Seafair Weekend Festival is brought to you by Boeing. Welcome back to the Seafair Weekend Festival, featuring the Apollo Mechanical Cup. The H1 Unlimited Heat 2A is sponsored by Ackley Brands.
All right, welcome back here to more racing in Lake Washington. We've got 2A. Here we come. We've got J. Michael Kelly, Jamie Nielsen, and Andrew Tate in this heat.
Jamie again, if he gets lane one, he's got lane one again at this point to hold him off. Should be a great race. J. Michael Kelly again doing double duty with the injury to Corey's wife.
Here they come 8 seconds to the start. Coming down, Jamie again got the inside lane.
And again, this is 180 feet per second. You've got to time it perfect. And they did.
It was really tight. It was a good race. Full song.
Right, there's the 91 again. The straightaway speed on that boat is amazing.
We're coming down into lane, first corner, and again, Andrew Tate did a wonderful job of keeping that lane.
Just keep your right side up, and he's probably going to leave room for Jamie. There's no need to hold him tight. Might pinch him a little bit coming out of turn 3 just to make sure he doesn't sneak up on you.
Yeah, because he loaded the front end of that boat, and it's still plenty loose.
Looks like J. Michael Kelly's a little heavy with the sponsons, and that'll sure bleed off speed real fast.
Yep.
I think that's the one that was injured, was it not?
Yeah, this is actually J. Michael Kelly, I think, in Heat 2A there.
Yeah. And there we go. 91's got a great lead. Coming out of this turn, you'll notice him tighten up a little bit on the exit pin. It makes the inside boat have to go even tighter.
Yeah.
That's going to blow a lot of speed.
Yeah, Jamie's going, whoa, I'm going to hold it in here. So this is the end of lap 2. And yeah, it was really interesting to see J. Michael Kelly in that Beacon boat because, Corey couldn't drive this heat, but he's also, I don't think I've ever seen it where a driver drives 2 boats in one race. I mean, it's like he drove 2A and 2B, so it's kind of cool.
JMK's a fighter, and his sons are doing fantastic in racing now, too, in the outboard. So it's great family, 3rd or 4th generation, just like you.
Yeah. Here they come down for the finish. Again, Goodman Real Estate, great sponsor, wonderful team, and he brings this one home.
And Bruce Ratchford's the owner, who is Apollo Mechanical, the sponsor of the whole race. So congratulations to Bruce Ratchford.
And, Jamie held off JMK. That was really a wonderful thing.
Sure was a hard ride. Again, Jamie, great guy.
Here we are for the replays coming down, and you can see
Jamie on the inside wound up.
Yep, he had a full song there, and J. Michael Kelly, I remember him, I talked to him, and he said, yeah, he missed the buoy. He hammered it on the wrong buoy, so he was late.
Well, from exit to start, you're only about 10 seconds. So,
yeah.
Man, what a difference in Excel.
There's the finish.
There you go. Way to go, Tate.
Interval is pretty close, so at 200 and some odd feet a second, right?
And it's great for Goodman, local team.
Jamie's coming in. Goodman Real Estate, they're happy. They don't smile a lot during these heat races, but there's the final official. It was Tate was the winner, Jamie Nielsen second, and J. Michael Kelly ended up in third.
And again, wait for the final because we don't know.
Heat 2B is sponsored by Fremont Brewing.
Here's some results of the recap of 2B. We see the Apollo and Dave Bilwalt coming out there. He's going to be out there in the Apollo. Jeff Bernard is going to be in Graham Trucking, and J. Michael Kelly, it's interesting, is going to be in the Beacon Electric this time.
And again, watch the inside. On this race course, if you've got the inside and try to pass him, you've got to have 5 miles an hour. And if Bernard nails the inside again, I don't know the outcome yet, but I'm going to think it's going to be Bernard if he gets the inside.
Yeah, wonderful start. Those other guys were late, and yeah.
Boy, what a difference. When you're 300 feet behind.
That kind of distance on unlimited hydroplane racing is enough. You're just giving somebody the race. So
and believe those guys are telling themselves, doggone it, I messed it up.
And after all the work they did on that boat, it was really good for them to be able to do that.
Tom Anderson, the crew chief, local guy, Graham Trucking, local guy. It's good for them in their home course to pull the thing back together after all the damage from last weekend.
Really good race for second.
Yeah.
As well.
Beacon's going to move out a little bit, try to force the 27
deck
out.
to deck, and Bilwalt trying to hold in J. Michael Kelly there. J. Michael I'm sure he's a little bit winded from the first heat, but he's out there hanging on. The water is not smooth in Seattle, even when it looks smooth.
Look at this. Again, J. Michael did a great job pushing Bilwalt out.
Yep. Dave couldn't get around him, and they need points. You don't necessarily need to win everything, but you need points because all boats this weekend are going to be in the final, but one of them is going to be in the back. It's going to be 5 to 10 seconds back.
Common sense says you just have to finish. There's nothing commonsensical about drivers. You want to win every time you go out.
Exactly. But I know Jeff's out there going, okay, I want to hold together. I don't want to break. He had bad luck last weekend, like I said, and he's hanging on and doing a great job.
You're hearing grumblings. You're hearing everything that could possibly go wrong, right? Just hoping to get to the final. He nailed it again. Strong compare this weekend. Again, congratulations to Graham and Tom Anderson, the whole team, putting that boat back together and making it a winner.
Yeah, it was wonderful to see him come through. He was real happy. I know on social media he posted, had a good weekend.
Good.
So far, a good day.
Yeah, and again, it all comes down to the final. What we're seeing is a building towards that.
Yeah.
There's the start again, and boom, perfect start.
Seconds afterwards, just like boom, boom, he's still there.
And now 2 seconds behind. You pretty much lost it at that point.
It's a good shot of the boat. You
Great
see the propeller, only the bottom blade really runs in the water. It's called a surface piercing propeller. So only one blade at a time is in the water.
And if you're a pleasure boater, it's 95% or more efficient, even with that little bit of propeller in the water.
Pleasure boats are only, what, 80%?
85% efficient, yeah. Some people have to have a little problem make it go so fast. It's the efficiency.
Yep.
Bernard wins it. J. Michael Kelly in second. Dave Hillwalk in the 27. Last week's Gold Cup winner in third. But we're just building towards an exciting final, Nate.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to have that come up. All right, Bridget in the pits, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so this year's Seafair Festival is more than just boat racing and an air show. It was the first ever Can You Ride It event, and I got to tell you, I had the best job of all. I had to judge this competition. I'm here with the guys from Best Day Brewing. We just wrapped up the Can You Ride It competition, first of its kind on Lake Washington. Guys, what makes this competition so special?
Well, I tell you, this is something that's never been done before in an official way. We've been doing this, like figuring out what can you ride behind the boat. I'm not talking wakeboards, water skis. I'm talking about refrigerator doors. Today, somebody rode racquetball rackets or tennis rackets. We had hobby horses, things that you're really not supposed to ride, like a door. Yeah, can you ride it? Well, let's find out.
We don't want to take ourselves too serious like most sporting events, so this is why we did it. And the other reason that it's so great is because Sean's in it.
I mean, this is such a wacky idea. How did you come up with this?
I've been doing it since I was a kid. Like, I tried to figure out different pieces of wood I could cut that I just wanted to see what could I ride behind the boat, because sometimes you're just like maybe training. I used to compete for a long time on the Pro Tour and like as a wakeboarder, and I wanted to keep it fun, and so this is just bringing the fun to the masses.
We've heard of some wacky competitions before, but what sets this one apart and makes it different and, all-inclusive?
Well, that's the whole point, is all-inclusive. Anyone can do this. In most sporting events, it's like, oh, you got to be the best of the best or this and that. And like this, it's an even kill. Anyone can come on. It's all about what you build and what you create. And so it creates an even playing field.
What's the most memorable thing you guys saw out there today?
It was pretty epic to be right behind Tony Claridge. He's one of the forefathers of Can You Ride It, and for him to be batting tennis balls back to the boat, that was a pretty cool view.
It was the crowd's response. It was super cool to see everyone at Seafair just embrace our inaugural event and just see them really hyped up on what we put out.
How does this tie in with Best Day's overall message?
Well, Best Day, a lot of people think non-alcoholic beer is about as much fun as decaf coffee, and that's not the case. Non-alcoholic beer is super fun, and we like to think it's beer you can drink anywhere, any time, and so this really tied into our message.
Where can folks watch this and keep up with the challenge? Because we want to see this back next year, right? And you want to see people get better and better.
I was honestly blown away. Being that this is the first one ever, the amount of costumes and just energy, enthusiasm, and originality, that's with them not having any example. Now that people have seen it, it's game on.
How can people keep up with this stuff?
Well, go to bestdaybrewing.com or canyouride.com, and this is their inaugural event. We'll be back at Seafair next year, and we'll also be hitting other markets in the U.S., but canyouride.com.
Well, there you have it. Let's see what you got, and we'll see you next year for Can You Ride It? We'll be right back to Lake Washington after this.
Welcome back to the Seafair Weekend Festival, featuring the Apollo Mechanical Cup.
Oh yeah, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rob Ryder, with me Brian Westbrook. Brian, what a day this is.
Absolutely incredible. You know, for more than 40 years, Oberto has been synonymous with Seafair and hydros. Our hydro announcers have each driven 6 of these Oberto boats over the years. Seattle native and friend of Seafair, Art Oberto, is no longer with us, but his 4-colored pen legacy lives on.
Following the death of his father, Art Oberto was only 16 years old, a high school student, and the new owner of the Oberto Sausage Company. After high school graduation, Art devoted his full attention to the company and built a new factory. Art believed strongly the most important members of the community were its children, because children represent the future. In 1975, Seafair was $75,000 in debt and announced they were considering canceling the Seafair race. When Art heard the news, he wrote an impassioned letter to the Seattle Times, saying that saving the hydros was important for the kids, because hydroplane racing was such an important event for the children of Seattle. Thanks to a telethon and a generous check from Art Oberto, the Seafair race was held, and Art began an almost 50-year run as a sponsor of hydroplane racing. In a love affair with the sport, Art and the Oberto Company have sponsored 12 different unlimited hydroplanes for 8 different owners and 18 different drivers. They have won 22 races, 7 national championships, and 2 Gold Cups. But in spite of all the success, the team has never lost sight of the one single most important goal. We're doing it for the kids. Art Oberto passed away in August of last year at the age of 95. His legacy as both a Seattle businessman and hydroplane racing sponsor will continue.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you, Art. Of course, that was King 5's Paul Sylvie reporting. And Art's legacy, leaving us just 3 years ago, of local pride in hydroplanes will live on each time you take a bite of an Oberto product. And as Art would say, have fun now. We'll be right back.
Very tasty.
Good afternoon, Seattle. My name is Major Craig Turner in the United States Marine Corps, and I'm here with the F-35B demonstration team to showcase the amazing characteristics of the 5th generation multi-role strike fighter. Very excited to be out here today and showcase the impressive capabilities of this aircraft we have behind us. I love flying the F-35. What you're going to see today is an amazing profile showcasing the incredible turn performance, G's, and speed available on the F-35B.
You're watching the Seafair Weekend Festival, featuring the Boeing Air Show.
And what an air show it is. As we see this F-35B Lightning II, Brian Westbrook, it is the first short takeoff, vertical landing, or STOVL aircraft that can go supersonic. And if you go back to 1995, when the program and the research started for what was then known as the Joint Strike Fighter, it was the idea and the desire of the United States military to have one kind of airplane that would serve the needs of the Marine Corps, the Navy, as well as the Air Force. And it is a miracle, Brian, what happened in terms of overcoming inter-service rivalry, political wrangling, and international intrigue, because now there are 20 nations involved in flying these aircraft for the Navy and their navies and their air forces, and this, the Marine Corps. Now, I will tell you that Major Craig Turner, the pilot, is experiencing heavy G's. He is from Marine Corps Air Station Miramar down in San Diego. And as he puts this airplane around the area here, we'll see it do nearly its top speed, but not breaking the sound barrier today.
Not today, not today. And I tell you what, if you are joining us here from the shores of Lake Washington or anywhere in the Seattle area, not only are you hearing this aircraft, this F-35B, you're feeling it. It is in your gut, it is in your soul. As it flies by us here through the trees there, you can kind of see that picture. We've just got some amazing visuals. Our photography team is doing an incredible job bringing us these live visuals from the Boeing Seafair Air Show.
That engine that powers it is a Pratt & Whitney F-135 engine, generating over 40,000 pounds of thrust. Now, this is the one that has the ability to do short takeoff and vertical landing, and we're going to see some of its slow speed and actually hovering capabilities, as this is the one from the Marine Corps that is replacing and has replaced the venerable AV-8B Harrier that has served with the military, with the Marine Corps and other military air arms around the world since 1979. And it was in 1960 that the idea of vectored thrust became a reality, with two airplanes developed by Hawker in Great Britain. And then it became the Harrier. And then as the fifth generation aircraft, including its weapons capability, as we see here with the weapons bay door open, as we see it come by, all of the weapons are carried internally, and it enables then the shape of the aircraft otherwise to remain stealthy. It is virtually invisible to enemy radar. It is so advanced. I could go on and on about this, Brian, because it is so advanced that the pilot literally wears a helmet that is fitted specifically to his or her head. The helmet weighs, get this, $400,000. But projected inside of the visor is stuff that you can see like this. There are 6 cameras around that aircraft, and they're infrared cameras, and it can be set up so that the pilot literally can tilt his or her head down, look straight through the floorboards, and see straight down.
And not only that, the network capabilities of this, you think you can cheat with your phone. The idea of this aircraft being able to share information with ground forces directly and immediately, so really just not what the pilot sees out the cockpit window as it's going these supersonic speeds, but to be able to share that telemetry data and the data of combat and the situational awareness with the troops on the ground and the operational leaders is absolutely incredible. The ultimate in network capabilities. When you think about this aircraft the next time you're trying to find a Wi-Fi signal in your hotel room, right? This is that sort of thing. That this is incredible. $400,000 for the helmet?
Yeah, $400,000 for that. But it was interesting in that initially, when they developed this airplane, they figured we're going to make the same. We'll develop the simple one first for the United States Air Force because it can land in conventional runways. Doesn't have to put up with the controlled crashes, if you will, of the Navy version on a deck of a carrier. But in order to get the short takeoff vertical landing or STOVL capabilities, Pratt & Whitney had to modify this F-135 engine with a very complex transmission that went forward, and then it powered a vertical lift fan, which we will see in just a minute as Chuckles, Major Craig Turner from Oakland, California, will come in here a little bit slower and demonstrate when he gets down below about 250 knots or 280 miles an hour. He will then open up that lift fan and show us what it can do in terms of hovering, just like the AV-8B Harrier. But the advances in the aircraft now involved with 20 countries, including the United States. Let me run this down. Italy, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Canada, Australia, Denmark, Norway, Israel, Japan, the Republic of Korea, Belgium, Poland, Singapore, Finland, Switzerland, Germany, the Czech Republic, Greece, and Romania. And that gives our allies the ability to share that information even though they are not part of the same Air Force. So literally, as we see the aircraft come by in what they call the high alpha or high angle of attack pass, they tilt the nose up. That's over 30 degrees nose up, Brian. And that can be controlled even more than that because of the vectored thrust of the tailpipe that we will see in its full glory here in just a moment. There are so many, 6 million plus lines of code to make this computing power work. And
wow, it's flying right by our broadcast booth right now, giving everyone a big show in our grandstands and our skyboxes. Absolutely incredible. And I love these shots with the horizon. You can see the tree line of the F-35B at that angle. Just an incredible aircraft, F-35B Lightning II.
As we saw that glow from the tailpipe, in case you're not familiar with it, there are basically 4 stages of a jet engine. You suck the air in, you squeeze it, you blow it up, and you go.
There you go.
In the case of what they call an afterburner, which is what we were seeing there with that orange glow, they pour raw jet fuel into the exhaust to give it a kick in the pants to get into a fight or out of a fight very, very rapidly. So anyway, had this airplane not been able to have been made to work for the United States Marine Corps, the entire project would have failed.
And you mentioned earlier about getting multiple branches of the government, multiple branches of service to agree. It's like trying to decide with your coworkers where to go to lunch. Could you imagine trying to put a project like this, to greenlight a project with such scope and scale and requirements? And you mentioned the lines of code, the complexity, the capability, just the versatility of this aircraft is impressive on paper, but then to see it in the sky flying behind us and to feel it flying behind us, there it is again, is absolutely awe-inspiring.
It has what they call sensor fusion, and that enables the pilot to assimilate so much information that is literally projected inside the visor of his or her helmet, so that rather than having to look at a heads-up display like we have seen in a lot of fighters and other aircraft, but also or look down at the instrument panel, no matter which way the pilot looks, he or she can see what's very important. Now we're going to see the lift fan. There's a door in the front, on the top, another door on the bottom, and this enables the aircraft to slow down. That vertical lift fan is actually 2 sets of blades counter-rotating, and we're going to be able to see Chuckles here bring it to a hover right in front of us here. And as we do, watch him. There you see, and look at the tail. You can also see the doors open at the bottom as the tail, using the vectored thrust that was perfected back in 1960 and used so effectively on the AV-8B Harrier. Now we can see it as it's down in its full, in excess of 90 degrees of deflection. This has got to be a treat for the folks on the ground, and the noise level, of course, is unbelievable. But take a look.
Coming right by the pits here, right by our broadcast position, right out in front of us, to see it just right there. Listen to that.
Oh, over 1,200 of these aircraft are flying as of just about 1 month ago. Over 1 million flight hours. There are now 3,000 pilots trained to fly the F-35 in each of its different variants. There you can see the tailpipe as it's bent down with those doors that open up. But it is so stealthy that it can evade even passive radar signals and locate a target, say 40 miles away, beyond visual range over a horizon, transmit target location data to another F-35 that's not anywhere near it, and then that other aircraft can come and destroy the target. It is an amazing, amazing airplane, be it the Air Force version or the Navy version or the Marine Corps version. And it has been said, and I know this for a fact, I've asked a lot of pilots about this. If you were to blindfold an F-35 pilot, sit him or her down in the cockpit of any one of the variants, initially you take the blindfold off and that pilot would not know whether he or she is in an A, B, or C version of the airplane. And people got on me on Facebook and says, nope, I know it's in the book and I've talked to plenty of them and they all say, yes, that's true. There is such commonality. There are also, with the Marine Corps version that we see here, 5th generation control laws. Now, it's going to operate more like a helicopter. Right. And in a helicopter, there is a joystick or a cyclic stick in the center for the right hand of the pilot, a collective for the left hand of the pilot, and the pedals to control the tail rotor, the anti-torque rotor. And in the AV-8B Harrier, normally with a stick in normal airplane mode, you push forward on the stick, you go down. You pull back, you get higher. With the throttle, you go faster or you go slower. In a helicopter, that changes. You give it more power, it goes up. You push forward on the stick, it goes forward. You push on the pedals like we're seeing now on this pedal turn, and you see that tail. Look at, we can actually see, I don't know if you saw it, but you can see the tailpipe and the vectored thrust changing the direction of the exhaust to help him turn the airplane. But in the 5th generation control laws, it is so easy that the aircraft changes itself. So if you want to go forward, you push the power level forward. If you want to go down, you push the stick down. And yet those guys who flew the Harrier and then transitioned to the F-35 found it a very, very easy transition to be able to handle this 5th generation fighter. Supersonic speeds, very expensive, but when you think of its capabilities, Brian, the airplane puts fewer people at risk in any engagement. And when you start talking about what a human life is worth, it's worth, in my estimation, spending the big bucks to have it be a more potent weapon system, putting fewer people at risk.
And more than just a weapon system, the sensors you talked about in the helmet and throughout the aircraft that give you a situational awareness in the battlefield, the connectivity with not only other jets, it's a peer-to-peer network of its own, to super simplify it, to be able to communicate with other battlefield systems, and then to take that stealth technology, the materials that absorb radar. Like, just think about that for a second. You know, it's radar dampening in every thought meticulously considered of how to put one of these jets together. And I'm still stuck on the $400,000 helmet.
You're talking about RAM. You know, you're a tech guy. RAM is, we're talking about random access memory. In this, it's radar absorbent material, right?
Oh boy.
Boy, oh boy.
I see what you did there. That was nice work.
Let's take a look.
Together.
Yeah, we got some replay on this. Let's take a look here. That is the shape of all 3 of the variants of the airplane. What is different about this one is that it has the vertical lift fan. All of the variants can handle and keep their weapons inside to keep the stealth capabilities there, so it's invisible. There's the afterburner. And the Navy version actually is a little bit larger. So but it's still the Joint Strike Fighter, the miracle airplane as far as I'm concerned, Brian.
I think you just said the Navy's version is a little bit larger, and of course they'd be very proud to hear you say that. Absolutely an incredible aircraft, and the versatility, again, just to get these defense forces to agree on a platform that can communicate amongst other versions of this aircraft across our armed forces.
Yeah, in Italy, they actually have a huge maintenance and manufacturing facility for these airplanes. And Canada and Australia. Australia had such a great automotive industry for many, many years, and they transitioned some of that those automobile facilities in building parts and sub-assemblies for the F-35 variants that we see flying all around the world for all of those nations. Our war fighters have a weapon system that makes the Allies, puts us in a position to keep us safer with a strong defense. As it's been said, the best offense is a strong defense.
That's right. Incredible, you were counting the number of countries. I was using my fingers. I got to 19, and then I realized I forgot perhaps the most obvious one, the United States
of America.
Yeah, so I did. I got to 19. We wanted to show you the aircraft and not be counting on my fingers. I got to 19, and then we hit 20 for the United States.
It's a remarkable plane to see, and there is a book, and I'm going to toot my own horn here, if I may.
Please.
There's a book called F-35, The Inside Story of the Lightning II. I was hired to narrate the audiobook for it. And as a result, I am really a devotee of the F-35. And if you really want to get down in the weeds on it, you can check that out on Amazon. If you want to listen to it, you can find it on Audible as well. F-35, The Inside Story of the Lightning II.
And speaking of stories, we're going to get a little bit later on, Rob, to why your shirt says Rob 8.5. That'll be coming up a little bit later on as we get closer to the Blue Angels. There's a great story there. We're certainly going to want to tell that.
More to come here in just a few minutes. We're actually going to continue in the jet age, and we're going to see the F-16 Fighting Falcon, an aircraft that has been flying now for over 50 years and is still in production today. And I believe it's in North Carolina, either North or South Carolina, and I'm blanking on which one it is, but that model's being made for other countries, and still like that fourth generation fighter.
And Rob, I hear that Melissa is coming a little bit later, and here she is now.
Hey, I am Melissa Burns, and you are watching the Boeing Air Show Live with Seattle Seafair. This is a hometown show for me. I'm based right up in Bellingham, Washington, just a short hop north, and it is such an honor to be performing for our local community and for all of the friends and family out there. I hope that you guys are having half as much fun as I'm having up here in the sky. It's a great opportunity to share our passion for aviation with all of you. I hope your kids are watching too, and you'll notice that this is a really high performance aerobatic airplane. It can go fast, it can go slow. I'm doing tumbles, gyroscopics, high performance maneuvers, and also really fun interactions with some of the boats on the water, which is unique to this air show. We're going to be out here racing jet boats and yeah, just having a great time all around.
This is just a taste or a teaser of what you're going to see Melissa Burns do here, the sports gal as they call her. What an airplane, and she's a tremendous pilot. And Brian, we've got a guest.
We have a guest. Joining me now, Emily Cantrell, the president and CEO of Seafair. First of all, welcome to the television broadcast, Emily. I know this is your first year in this position, but you are no stranger to Seafair. Tell us about the role and what your first year has been like.
Oh, it has been incredible. So joined the team in September as president and CEO, but fortunately I'd worked at Seafair almost 10 years ago in marketing communications. So I came in here. Nothing's been a huge surprise, but essentially we've built a city out here. So there was still a lot to learn, but we're really happy with how it's been so far.
A lot has grown over the years, but this year in particular, bigger, better, bolder is the theme. What does that theme mean for Seafair and for the larger community?
That theme, there's a lot to it, but essentially more events, more local partnerships. So if anything, in the beer gardens, you see Fremont in there. We have our own Seafair Pilsner, just local flavor. On the main stage today, we had Aaron Crawford, a local country musician. So more events, more local flavor, taking the Torchlight Parade back tonight, just building on the legacy that we had and trying to make everything just a little bigger, better, and bolder.
It was great to see you not only at the 4th of July fireworks, but at the Torchlight Parade. Events throughout the summer. It's been a great honor to be a part of those. But you've really had a bird's eye view of the entire activity and how it's brought the community together. Tell us why Seafair is important in really being the glue that brings Seattle together.
Well, we were founded in 1950 as a way to celebrate the city's centennial. And back then, we didn't even have the Space Needle. We didn't have any of the major sports teams that we have today. And so the city was looking for a way to bring people together. And still to this day, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, Seafair offers a little bit of everything for everyone. And we are all about accessible, inclusive fun. So even yesterday, the Friday of Seafair weekend was free for everyone thanks to a new partnership with Windermere. So we just want to make sure everyone feels like they're a part of the community and can participate.
What are some of the biggest highlights of this year's activities? Maybe some of your personal favorites?
Definitely the Torchlight Parade, moving it down to the waterfront. If you haven't been down there, the revitalized waterfront is something that you have to check out. And then also moving it back to night.
Yeah.
And the theme this year being Light Up the Night, people dressed in neon from the Torchlight Run, which we brought back for the first time since 2022. That was a blast, but also just that TV zone now on the waterfront. It is just such a stunning backdrop.
I had the opportunity to be in the parade with Alaska Airlines. My pants were actually lit up. I did a little arts and crafts project with some illuminated LED lights. But to turn around and look back at the parade as you're marching forward, to see the sunset, the view of the waterfront, having grown up here in Seattle, I've seen that waterfront area revitalized. What are we looking forward to next year? And is it safe to say the Torchlight's staying at the waterfront?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. We're not moving the parade ever again.
she's like my first
why
year,
would
I
you
don't want
want
to move a parade, right?
Yeah, we don't want to. It was just so beautiful down there. Our phones were ringing off the hook the next day, especially from some of the businesses on the waterfront saying, we want to float in the parade next year. How do we do that?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
It is amazing that, and so gratifying and good that they hired from within to bring you into that position. The corporate knowledge that you bring to this position and your other positions with the festival, that's made it much easier for you to step in to do this job.
Thank you. Yes, I joked earlier, otherwise I'd be in a corner crying somewhere, but I do think it helps. I've been in this business community for more than 20 years, so understanding our community, the businesses here, being able to build on those relationships that I already had and bringing the team in on those conversations, it really has helped out a lot.
And Emily Crantrell, President and CEO of Seafair, first of all, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here. And on behalf of all of the volunteers and staff members that make Seafair happen, everyone here and all of those at home want to say thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Very much.
We want to get to more air show. I understand we have an F-16 coming up from the United States Air Force.
We do indeed. The F-16 Fighting Falcon, over 4,500 of these have been built. And as we see the picture that we see right now, this is the paint job on the matching the original prototype of the F-16 Fighting Falcon that was then produced by General Dynamics. FEMA is going to be the guy. Major Taylor Heister from Pennsylvania is about to bring the F-16 Fighting Falcon's half a century or golden anniversary paint job to us here, and it was really, really cool. And next voice you hear is going to be the narrator for the F-16 Fighting Falcon and the Viper demo team from Shaw Air Force Base in Sumter, South Carolina.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of your United States Air Force, the Commander of Air Combat Command, General Ken Wilsbach, and all the men and women of the Air Combat Command, we would like to thank you for having us at Seafair 2025. I'm the Viper Demonstration Superintendent and one of your narrators, Master Sergeant Deandra Baker from Duffield, Virginia. Here with me at Show Center is my co-narrator and Team Chief, Technical Sergeant Josh Butcher from Lexington Park, Maryland, as well as our Safety Officer and Combat Ready Fighter Pilot, Major Greg Rinker, call sign ICE from Bath, Pennsylvania. As a member of the Air Combat Command's 20th Fighter Wing located at Shaw Air Force Base in the beautiful Sumter, South Carolina, it is our distinct pleasure to describe for you today a combat capability demonstration by the world's premier multi-role fighter, the F-16 Fighting Falcon, affectionately known as the Viper.
The commander and pilot for the Viper demonstration team is Major Taylor Heister, call sign FEMA, from Robesonia, Pennsylvania. Major Heister joined the Air Force in 2015 after graduating from Penn State University. The F-16 you'll see in today's demonstration is equipped with an engine producing more thrust than the airplane weighs. Ladies and gentlemen, stand up and put your hands together for Major Heister in the F-16 Fighting Falcon!
Major Heister is now setting up for his first aerobatic maneuver, the Cuban 8. Watch his FEMA trace as a horizontal figure 8 over the demonstration area.
Major Heister will now demonstrate the low-altitude, high-speed capability of the F-16. As he passes show center, he'll be in full afterburner just under the speed of sound at 700 miles per hour. Major Heister would like to address the crowd from the cockpit. Let's listen in now.
As he returns to show center, Major Heister will accelerate rapidly and snap the F-16 through a series of aileron rolls, demonstrating its exceptional roll maneuverability. Dropping in from the left, FEMA and the triple roll.
In a dogfight, the ability to turn tight is not just a capability of the airplane, but of the fighter pilot as well. To demonstrate its ability to outturn any adversary, FEMA will fly a minimum radius turn while being pressed into the seat at 9 times the force of gravity, while sustaining his new body weight of 1,800 pounds and flying with precision. Major Heister will now demonstrate the F-16's crisp handling characteristics as he performs a 4-point roll at show center, pausing briefly at each 90-degree increment. Notice the precision at which these individual movements are executed. In from the left, the F-16 and the 4-point roll.
And now, one more time from your right, FEMA is inbound for another high-speed pass. Every second, he'll be covering the distance of 3 football fields or 950 feet per second. This is still less than half the Viper's top speed of Mach 2. As he approaches show left, Major Heister is repositioning for a maneuver which will demonstrate the F-16's ability to turn tight and stay unpredictable, a trait which helps the Viper survive against low altitude threats. He will then quickly transition from the horizontal fly into the vertical. Ladies and gentlemen, from your left, it's the Falcon turn. Major Heister is now slowing the F-16 to prepare for a slow speed high alpha pass. While the Viper can fly at more than twice the speed of sound, slow speed control is just as crucial when maneuvering in a dogfight. This will be your best opportunity to look closely at the aircraft and its flight controls. Beam will be holding the Viper at a 23 degrees nose up position and moving at only 120 miles per hour. When he reaches show center, Major Heister will apply full afterburner and pull back on the stick for a near vertical climb, demonstrating the F-16's awesome thrust-to-weight ratio.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to get your cameras ready as Major Heister prepares to demonstrate the combination of thrust and digital flight control systems that makes the knife edge maneuver possible. From your right, the F-16 and the knife edge pass. Ladies and gentlemen, Major Heister has begun preparation for the dedication pass. Major Heister and the rest of the F-16 Viper demonstration team wish to dedicate this next pass to the men and women from all branches of the armed forces and their families, stationed around the world defending America. We would like to recognize our wounded warriors and veterans in attendance who are fighting wounds that we can see while also battling those we cannot. To honor every American who has given their lives defending this great nation, if possible, we ask you to please stand for this salute. And now, from behind the crowd and to the right, The F-16 Viper demonstration team proudly presents the dedication pass.
The Viper you see in action today is maintained and showcased by our expert team of maintenance and public affairs professionals. Crew Chief Staff Sergeant Colton McMicken from Longville, Louisiana. Staff Sergeant William Keller from Las Vegas, Nevada. And celebrating his birthday today, Senior Airman Eli Sanchez from Visalia, California. Electrical Environmental Specialist Staff Sergeant Grayson Reeves from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Avionics Specialist Staff Sergeant Blaine Dinky from Medford, Oregon. And Public Affairs Specialist Staff Sergeant Stephen Cardo from Miami, Florida. What you're about to watch. In 1997, the leaders of Air Combat Command assembled a select group of retired military and civilian pilots to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the United States Air Force. From this gathering was born the Heritage Flight, a unique visual representation of the Air Force's history from the days of the Army Air Corps to the present.
What started out as a one-time event has grown in popularity and demand. In 2010, the Air Force Heritage Flight Foundation joined with the United States Air Force to keep this popular program flying, and now Heritage Flights are performed at air shows and special events in the United States and around the world. Flying in formation today is Steve Hinton Jr. in a beautiful World War II era P-51 Mustang, and Major Taylor Heister in your United States Air Force F-16.
We would like to dedicate today's Heritage Flight to all the military veterans and wounded warriors in attendance, whose sacrifices over the years have helped preserve America's freedom. We hope you've enjoyed watching this rare formation flight of classic and current Air Force aircraft. Please turn with me now and watch as this rare formation approaches from behind the crowd for its final pass to split break.
Ladies and gentlemen, your United States Air Force Heritage Flight. We hope you've taken pride in watching this rare formation flight of classic and current Air Force aircraft.
There's the F-16 Fighting Falcon in its anniversary colors with Major Craig, actually say Major Taylor, Heister, call sign FEMA. And as we look at the airplane, I want to point out something that FEMA has been able to take advantage of, a piece of technology that actually started on the other airplane that we saw flying in formation. Look at the bottoms of each of the aircraft. On the right, you see the intake for the jet engine. There's that scoop. It's separated from the bottom of the fuselage with what is called a gutter. That piece of technology came from the Mustang 30 years earlier. On the original design of the Mustang, look at the scoop on the back for the radiator for that liquid-cooled Rolls-Royce designed Packard-built engine. V12 engine, 1,700 horsepower. But that scoop initially was butted up against the fuselage, and they caused cooling problems because of turbulent airflow going into the cooler. So they separated it with a gutter, and that is the same technology that still applies to the F-16 Fighting Falcon today. The fourth generation fighter that until, I talk about the maneuverability of the F-16 Fighting Falcon, and that's could out the MiGs could outturn anything the Air Force had until the F-16. Steve O. Hinton Jr. is the gentleman, son of Steve Hinton, the legendary pilot, and he carried that and passed the torch on to his son Steven Jr. And Steve has absolute speed records in the in the P-51 Mustang, winning twice at Reno. And also, if you saw the movie Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise, that's his Mustang. He flies it. But when he's out and around the world working in other films, Steve Hinton Jr. has been designated the caretaker of Tom Cruise's Mustang. Pretty cool.
I think that's a pretty slick job to be a caretaker of the F-16 that Tom Cruise flies in the movies. You were showing those scoops right by side. You know, if it ain't busted, don't fix it. 30 years later, we're using similar technology. It's inspiring to see both where we've been and where we've come. And that heritage flight, just goosebumps. Really a great tribute to the men and women who've served in our armed forces.
Indeed, we'll be back with more of the Boeing Air Show. Just wait for you. We'll be right back.
The Seattle Seafair Trivia Question is brought to you by Tulalip Resort Casino. In 1907, two Seattle teenagers founded the American Messenger Company, delivering telegrams and packages by bicycle and on foot. What did this company grow to become? DHL, United Parcel Service, Trans World Packages, or On Track? The answer when we return. Welcome back to the Seafair Weekend Festival, featuring the Apollo Mechanical Cup.
This marked the second year that Apollo Mechanical Contractors has been the sponsor of Seafair Hydroplane Racing and Apollo Mechanical Cup. Here's more on this devoted sponsor.
3, 2, 1. We're bigger, we're leaner, we're smarter, we're stronger, but all the core values and the caring about people, that's never changed.
Their number one concern is that we home safe every night to the family.
We are known for being very, very, very safe contractor. A company that's built on teamwork, teamwork, and teamwork is the way I would describe it.
Integrity and the quality and the pride that everybody has, it is deeply embedded in everything that we do.
We were going to be better because we were going to be a better team. Better communication, that we help each other out, that we're always there for each other, that we go out of our way to help each other grow. I don't see anybody stopping us, to be honest with you. Everybody's got the right attitude. We want to get better, we want to get leaner, stronger, smarter, faster.
More people, more leadership, just more work, and just growing outside to more states.
There's not a market sector that we're not touching or into, and everything we go into, we're successful.
We've established branches and moved into new areas such as Reno. We picked up Denver. We played in California. We have an office in Tennessee and Ohio now.
If we can talk about Apollo Space Shuttle to the moon, I think this generation's done that, and the next generation's going to take it to Mars. I really believe that.
It's going to be busy and it's going to be exciting.
The talent and the decisions and the caring that I see from everybody, from the apprentice on the job site to Bruce, it's there, and you can't buy that.
There's lots of companies to work for, and you can be a number, and you can collect a paycheck. But there's few places you can go and be part of a culture that feels like home, and that's Apollo.
Hi everybody, this is Chief Warrant Officer 2, Ravinsky Savan. I'm currently a pilot with the 16th Combat Aviation Brigade, flying the H-64 Apache. My job is to fly the aircraft and maneuver the aircraft in a position where my opposite crew member is able to utilize their weapon systems and support the ground forces through lethality. As part of the Combat Aviation Brigade, we are born in battle. We're able to deploy anywhere in the world at a moment's notice, and we provide fires to the ground forces. Flying this aircraft is probably one of the best feelings in the world. It feels like you are flying and you are inside a Ferrari. It's one of the best feelings when you are climbing and pushing over into a dive. Being able to fly for Seafair is quite the privilege. I grew up watching a lot of air shows down in Southern California. Got to see the Thunderbirds, Blue Angels multiple times. So being able to participate in the same air show with them is one of the best feelings in the world.
This Seattle Seafair trivia answer is brought to you by Tulalip Resort Casino. What company did the American Messenger Company become? If you answered United Parcel Service, you're right. In 1975, UPS became the first package delivery company to service every address in the continental U.S. And UPS has become the global leader in package delivery and supply chain management. You're watching the Seafair Weekend Festival, featuring the Boeing Air Show.
There is Boeing Longbow Apache with two 2,000 shaft horsepower jet engines powering this aircraft to a speed of about 180 miles an hour. And what a potent weapon system it is. As we see it overhead, there are some very distinctive features about this that have come out of other important aircraft. Right under the nose, there is a 3-barrel 30-millimeter chain gun that will spew out a whole lot of rounds each and every second. And it is very unique in that it has a special sighting mechanism which allows the gunner in the front seat to turn his or her head left, right, up or down almost 150 degrees laterally, and from about 10 degrees nose up to 40 degrees nose down, look and shoot capability. It is a remarkable weapon, and that chain gun is only part of the kind of weapons that the aircraft has. Helicopters have been in use, Brian Westbrook, for many, many years. The Germans started, and even Leonardo da Vinci dreamed of rotary wing flight. But there you can see the chain gun actually turning. And it's all connected with special optics mounted on the helmet of the gunner in the front. And I am told that the pilot in the back can actually control that chain gun as well. But the Germans had some rotary wing success, but it was a guy named Igor Sikorsky in Stratford, Connecticut, back in the 30s, who made rotary wing flight practical. And he overcame incredible physics and aerodynamics problems to say, here's what we have. And the helicopter has been not only a potent weapon, but also a very, very important life-saving aircraft as well. And as we look at that, we can see it function as it just almost hovers over here. Igor Sikorsky was the guy who said, you know, we've got an airplane can drop supplies to somebody, but a helicopter can land and pick them up and save them. But look at those pylons under wing. It's capable of carrying that 30-millimeter chain gun with 1,200 rounds. It can carry up to 16 Hellfire laser guided missiles, or even 76 what they call folding fin rockets that are just kind of aim and bore sighted and shot from the pilot and the gunner, and other combinations of guns and missiles. And it is one heck of a deal. The Huey helicopter, Brian, that we saw in Vietnam, that did the dust-off missions and the cavalry missions and the gunship missions, led to the development of the Cobra helicopter, which had a chain gun similar to that. And then this Apache is the extension of that, as it tilts back and kicks the collective way back and pulls hard on the collective and can turn on a dime and give you 9 cents change.
Yeah, and I love this. The integrated weapons system, it is referred to as the deadliest helicopter in that it can have the most impact in the battlefield. A comprehensive, fully integrated weapons system. The idea here is to make sure that all of the weapons are working together, whether they need short range, long range, or even to just dominate the battlefield here. Lethal, survivable, agile systems. This is everything. This is when you throw the kitchen sink at a helicopter.
That's right.
This is what you get. You get the Apache, the modern AH-64 Apache helicopter we're looking at from Boeing here.
We go back to 1998 when it first was flown with this Longbow, and actually the Longbow is actually the name of the sophisticated radar system that's installed on the Apache. And we've got friends around here who can attest to the potency, to the reliability, to the efficiency of the Apache helicopter that we see here being flown by the United States Army.
take a look at that right over us here in Lake Washington. Not every day you see an Apache helicopter fly over Lake Washington, but here we are at the Seafair Air Festival Air Show, being able to watch this incredible display of power right here behind us.
If you look carefully, and we probably could have saw it earlier, that rotor system that we have there actually cones or bends upward as it supports the up to 22,000 plus pounds of weight of this helicopter fully loaded, and that is called coning, but this is a rotary winged aircraft. And interestingly, you may not know this, people say, why can't it fly more than 180 miles an hour? Well, there you can see the coning. That's the great shot of that. Jeff Lee, our director, and Craig McCackern there in the truck have been able to get the shots of that. But there is something. I'm going to get down in the aeronautical weeds just a little bit. There is something called retreating blade stall, and if the rotor blade that's going forward generates lift, it's not generating as much lift on the way back, and if it tried to go too fast, it'll flip out of control. So that's what limits the speed of the helicopter a little bit. But we're going to see more, because the helicopter has become a major heavy lifter for the United States Army indeed.
And speaking of heavy lifting, when we need to get them around the globe, up to 6 of these can fit inside the cargo hold of a United States Air Force Lockheed C-5 Galaxy. So if you think about that, I'm going to put 6 of these inside my aircraft. It just feels daunting, but they make it work every day.
Yeah, the C-5 Galaxy's been around since 1968, and they have just, over the last 10 years or so, re-engined the C-5 Galaxy to increase its maximum gross weight and load lifting capability to over 1 million pounds from a former 858,000 pounds.
I've got some friends down at JBLM that work on those C-5 Galaxies, both as loadmasters, which is a big task, and as pilots as well. So thank you to the gentlemen that fly the C-5 Galaxy and presumably take those Apache helicopters around the world.
Yeah, to be able to put 6 in it, it's a cavernous cabin. And the Air Force has had a lot of important heavy lift aircraft, beginning with the C-130 Hercules. But we'll talk more about that as we look now at the CH-47 Chinook helicopter. This is this multi-rotor deal, and it's got 2 turboshaft engines on it as well. But take a look. This can carry can weigh up to 53,800 pounds, and it doesn't fly super fast, but about 177 miles per hour. But as we look at the nose there, you see what's sticking out the front? That is a probe.
Yep.
And that is a refueling probe, which allows it to be refueled with the Navy version of the probe and drogue aerial refueling system, with a hose coming out the back of the tanker aircraft, and that extends out even farther. Take a look at this. I love to see the coning of the rotors on this, especially when it's supporting 50,000 plus pounds.
And for those that live in the Northwest, especially just south of here from Seattle, you might see these taking off and landing at was once known as McChord Air Force Base, now of course JBLM Joint Base Lewis McChord, where some of these Chinook helicopters are even based. And it's just an incredible sight to see. I've had the privilege of being on base, watching the Chinook helicopters like this one and others take off and land right there from the airfield. You'll see them doing formations and training and doing missions around the Northwest from time to time. And here they are out the back of the Chinook. You're just talking about that lift capability. Absolutely incredible.
Right, with hurricane force winds being whipped up around the fuselage as it's just a few feet above the water of Lake Washington.
And you can see at the bottom of our screen there, that is Lake Washington. They're diving into. Just take a look at that. Incredible. Kind of disappear before they hit the water there. A little spray on the bottom.
Those are hurricane force winds under there.
That's right.
And I had the opportunity in one occasion of being lifted up in a basket of one of the Coast Guard Dolphins, and I can attest to the wing, to the just the amazing force of the winds under there.
There's that thumbs up. Everything's okay. And I believe they're actually they're gonna swim to the boats, and then they're gonna kind of parade in front of the crowd here in a little bit. There's the boats, the pontoon boats heading out there. Thank you to all of our aquatic partners for transporting some of our shows back and forth to the water. But look at that, just incredible takeoff power there. You can tell there's a lot of heft and might to that, and the ability to refuel mid-flight is pretty amazing.
Just to get an idea of the size, the rotor diameter of each of the rotors on it, 60 feet in diameter. The whole aircraft is only about 52 feet long, as I recall. And there were the guys, look at the white caps.
Yeah. I'm not sure they want to get out of the water. I think they're kind of enjoying the cool day on Lake Washington. There's our Seafair shuttle grabbing them. Now, how many of these can fit in the back of a C5 boat?
In a C5, I'm not sure how many it would be, but maximum speed 177. It cruises about 160 miles per hour.
There's Shore Patrol picking up our swimmers. So I think we're just going to go for a little swim up on the boat there.
It does have 250 caliber machine guns. We actually had a shot of that. Jeff got a shot of that. 250 caliber machine guns, and it also carries some air-to-air missiles called the Stinger air-to-air missile.
All right, and that's an incredible display, and thank you to all of our swimmers there providing that demonstration from the Chinook. Boeing, as you know, is one of the largest employers in the Pacific Northwest, and the company's commitment to the state of Washington and its residents is present in everything they do.
We've always been inspired by the challenge of flight. So together, from a red barn in Seattle, we all took off on this journey. We are investing in the communities of Washington, where we live and work, improving sustainable aerospace, connecting and protecting our loved ones, innovating and transforming how we fly. Our rich history began in the state of Washington, and we've learned that we can accomplish so much when we work together, and it's the people of Washington that make it all possible. We are committed to the future that we will continue to create together.
Today's air show broadcast from Seafair Weekend Festival is brought to you by Boeing.
Rob, as we get ready for the Blue Angels to make their appearance here, walk us through a day in the life of the Blue Angels. And then I think this is the time I should share with the audience the reason for the 8.5 on your shirt. You are an honorary Blue Angel, one of very few in the world, and you have a number. Tell us about that, and then walk us through what the Blue Angels are going through today.
All right, I'll take you back to 2010 when they made me an honorary. That year, I had been coaching the narrators for some time, go out and join them at winter training and see how this team gets along. But one day in New York, the Blue Angel number 8, who communicates with the narrator, Blue Angel number 7, was unable to get to the beach in time for her to be able to cue number 7 as to what maneuver was coming up. And since she didn't make it, Amy Tomlinson wasn't there, I put on a headset with a scanner and I told C.J. Simonson what was coming up. So they didn't joke about me being number 8, they said 8.5. Well, then that fall at Miramar in San Diego, they made me an honorary, and the next day Amy Tomlinson came out to the show center with a Blue Angels helmet bag, the Blue Angels official crest, my name, and 8.5 on it. So I have made that my call sign ever since.
That is fantastic. Rob, 8.5, a pleasure to be here with you. And of course, Miramar coming up later in September. I'll be there with my colleague and fellow air show friend as well, Steph Strickland, and I will be down there at Miramar.
She is a gem.
Incredible. Now, walk us through what a day in the life of a Blue Angel is like, and what are they going through right now? What is happening live at Boeing Field, King County International Airport, as it's officially known. Of course, as aviation geeks, we just call it Boeing Field,
sure,
home of Boeing. But tell us what's happening, what they're going through, their pre-flight checklists, how they're getting ready for an incredible show over Lake Washington.
Well, they do a very detailed briefing, and it involves being so quiet and the boss taking control at a certain amount of time to the second they start their briefing, and he talks through all of the pertinent information, which airplane, which pilot is going to fly, where the spares will be in case they have to go to a spare if there's a problem with one of the aircraft, and they go through the maneuvers. And one of the special things that they do in that maneuvering, in that briefing, is they will select one very, very short series of maneuvers where they will chair fly the maneuver, and the boss will then kick back, all the pilots will push their chairs back, and they will assume the position that they would be in the cockpit of the FA-18 Super Hornets that the Blue Angels fly. They'll tilt down, they will close their eyes, the number 2 pilot on the right wing will tilt his or her head to the left. The number 3 pilot will tilt his head to the right like he's looking up at the boss. And the slot pilot, number 4, Jack Keelty, will pick his head and look up above and see. And the boss will call the maneuvers, and he'll say, up we go, a little more pull. And they will pull, and you'll see their hands pull. And then the throttles move as they do everything. And as they have to move, if it's a roll or something like that, they will do that. And I said number 4, Jack Keelty. He's number 2. Wes Perkins is number 4 this year. But at any rate, they will do that, and then they'll come back and they will finish each and every maneuver, and the pilots will look at the maps in front of them and follow that around. So that's what's happening. They'll be in the jets. We'll see them fly and look over the shoulder.
And look at that. Is that the C-17 over the shoulder? The C-17 Globemaster.
That is the C-17 Globemaster 3, first flown in 1991. As I started to mention earlier, the C-130 Hercules back from the mid-1950s was a heavy lifter. 1968, the C-5 Galaxy coming in at a whopping 858,000 pounds originally. But this one from 1991 combined the short takeoff and landing capabilities of the C-130 and the heavy lift capabilities of the C-5 Galaxy. 585,000 pounds with a 169-foot wingspan. It's 174 feet long. It's 55 feet from the bottom of the tires to the top of the tail, and even so, it'll fly at over 500 miles per hour at altitude. Now, as big as this airplane is, it is really advanced. A crew of 3 people can handle everything on this airplane, from loading to running it, flying it, wherever it has to go. 2 pilots and a loadmaster with its advanced offload, onload capabilities. And as you see it fly by, and we just saw on the shot, we'll see it again, I believe, as the leading edge slats on the wing and the trailing edge flaps on the wing were extended to give it a different shape of the wing, creating more lift and better maneuverability at slow speeds. Another very, very interesting thing about this airplane, you and I were shaking our heads and talking about the head-up display, or heads-up display.
That's right.
Combined, well, that was really kind of limited to fighter aircraft, to put pertinent information about the attitude, airspeed, altitude, and other systems on a piece of glass projected up to keep it in the face of the pilot so the pilot would not have to look down and lose situational awareness. This aircraft has a HUD. Also, rather than a big yoke like large airplanes tend to have, this one has a stick for the pilot to singly control it with 4, count them, 4 hydraulic systems on it. And if all 4 of those fail, then they still have a manual backup. They have those multiple and all of those backup systems because the airplane is responsible for delivering and getting things out of battlefield areas where they are subject to ground fire. And so as we see the C-17 turn away from us, we'll see it make a very, very tight 360-degree turn with almost 45 degrees of bank. It can get up to 60 degrees of bank, which is close to aerobatic flight. And it's got these engines that develop 40,000 pounds of thrust each and make it a great, great heavy lifter. There's about, I think, 275 of these in the Air Force inventory, and other countries fly them as well. I believe even Canada, the Royal
United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and others. This is a commonly used for tactical and strategic missions. We're talking about airlifts of medical supplies, troops, personnel, equipment, lots of amazing things. This is the C-17 Globemaster III.
Indeed.
This Seattle Seafair trivia question is brought to you by Tulalip Resort Casino. Pike Place Market is the birthplace of Starbucks, started in 1971. After expanding globally, how many stores in how many countries now have Starbucks? Is it 15,000 stores in 47 countries, 22,000 stores in 57 countries, 36,000 stores in 84 countries, or 52,000 stores in 96 countries? The answer when we return. You're watching the Seafair Weekend Festival, featuring the Boeing Air Show.
And we are pleased to welcome to the set Lance Ball. Lance is the Senior Director of Manufacturing and Safety for Boeing Commercial Airplanes, also a member of the Seafair Board. And as we are chatting with you, we have the KC-135 behind you. Lance, I want to say, as the 76th anniversary of Seafair, it's absolutely great that you're here, and it's amazing that Boeing has supported Seafair really through the beginning, through all of the years. Why is this important, and why has the partnership lasted as long as it has?
Yeah, thanks so much. Great to be here again with both of you. It's hard to believe it started in 1950, and this partnership has been in place for 76 years, and I think there's several things. Seafair is really the cultural fabric of the Puget Sound. So is Boeing. In some ways, we've grown up together. There are shared values. There's a shared mission to support the community, to support our military. We have more employees right here in Washington State than anywhere else in the world, and our Boeing employees are committed to Seafair as well as Boeing, and we just appreciate the sponsorship, and it's getting stronger every single year.
We see a lot of aircraft up in the air behind us at this air show, manufactured by Boeing. What can folks expect later today from Boeing? We've already seen a lot of great Boeing aircraft up there. What's coming up?
We love the Boeing Seafair Air Show, and today we're especially excited. We'll have a flyover with the 777-9. That's our latest airplane, made right here in Washington State. We have thousands of dedicated Boeing employees who contribute to that airplane. We're so proud of them and all the great work that they're doing.
I look forward to that, and of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Boeing FA-18 Super Hornet. Where's that going to be? Where are we going to see that today?
Well, we can't wait. It's going to, yeah, it's going to follow the flyover. I mean, they've been performing just incredible this weekend. Of course, the FA-18 Super Hornets, designed and built by Boeing. There's a special relationship between the Blues, the Puget Sound, and Boeing. Yeah, they're just incredible, and we can't wait to see them this afternoon, and they're just the pride of our nation.
And your employees are the pride of the company. We've seen a lot of them here at Seafair. I actually snuck into the skybox. Don't tell anyone, Lance. I think I have my secret safe here. To meet some of the Boeing employees that are here celebrating Seafair, not only celebrating, but also volunteering their time and helping with the events that are Seafair. How is Seafair and Boeing's commitment to the community show up through its employees?
Yeah, you saw a lot of that last weekend, excuse me, at the Torchlight Parade.
Yes.
We had our Boeing employees, our military, volunteering at the parade. Some of them were guiding the massive Blue Angel balloon.
Yep.
Many of our Boeing employees are down here today volunteering as well. In fact, many of them have been volunteering for years, some of them for decades. And one of the things that people may not realize is the Seafair core team is small. They're incredible, but what really powers the Seafair machine are the volunteers. Boeing's so proud to be part of that.
We're very excited about the volunteers, but you yourself are a member of the team as a board member. Maybe walk us through one of your favorite personal memories of Seafair.
Oh my gosh, there's so
How do you
many.
pick one, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Well, it's a pleasure to serve on the Seafair board on behalf of Boeing, and I started coming down here when I was a young kid with my family, sitting on the shores of Lake Washington, and then every year after. And now I'm able to come back with my family and enjoy afternoons like this. Some of my best memories are of some of the lesser known events. People may not realize that Seafair really starts in the spring, and there are car shows, there are music, culture events, food events, and some of the best memories are at some of those lesser known events where maybe there's a couple dozen people or a couple hundred rather than thousands. I guess if you pin me down, my best memory is probably right now spending Seafair weekend with my family and the Blue Angels.
Oh, you did say your family. I thought you were going to say the best memory was hanging out with Rob and Brian on set here at the Seafair broadcast. Well, maybe we'll get that spot next year. And speaking of next year, what can we expect as Seafair grows? Obviously, the Torchlight Parade, we heard from Emily herself earlier on this broadcast, definitely staying at the waterfront. You and I were there at the Torchlight Parade. We could see back, just enjoy it. What are you excited about looking forward as Seafair for another 76 years?
I think there's an elevated excitement this year, and that has a lot to do with Emily, the partnership with Boeing, and the planning will start next month for next year. And so there's a lot of fun things that are being planned, and I would anticipate with Emily and the partnership with Boeing in the Puget Sound here, things will continue getting better.
You mentioned some of the lesser known events. They do continue throughout the summer. This is sort of the highlight, the tentpole, if you will, weekend. We had the 4th of July fireworks. We had the Torchlight Parade. But there are many activities, big, small, in local communities around the area. Certainly seafair.org for a list of all of those schedules. Lance, tell me about Boeing in the future. What's coming up? I know you're excited about the 777. I'm very excited about this flyover as a commercial aviation geek, as you know. Very excited about that myself. What else is coming? What's next with Boeing?
For Boeing? Well, certainly the 777-9, incredible airplane. We love it. Our customers love it. The 737 is booming down in Renton. In fact, we can't build them fast enough. The demand is just off the charts, and things are booming across Boeing commercial airplanes. We're hiring more people, and it's just an exciting time to be part of Boeing.
I love it. I've got a lot of great friends that work at Boeing, and following the aviation community here in the Northwest, you'd be remiss without telling Boeing's story as a part of that. Lance Ball, thank you so much for joining us. It is just an incredible partnership, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Lance. We are very excited to have more air show as we continue our broadcast here from Lake Washington.
The Seattle Seafair Trivia Answer is brought to you by Tulalip Resort Casino. Which answer did you select? Starbucks has more than 36,000 stores in 84 countries. And with 195 countries altogether, Starbucks is in almost half of the world's countries. Pretty impressive after starting out on the cobblestone streets of Pike Place Market. Today's H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Racing from Seafair Weekend Festival is brought to you by Apollo Mechanical Contracts.
All right, welcome back to Lake Washington. We're up to watch and review some GP heats. I've got Jeff Ayler here, who's the voice of the GP America this weekend. And Jeff, thank you for being here.
And the mayor of Madison, Indiana, too.
Well,
Rikers Ridge. And Nate and Steve, great to be with you. And wow, what a great treat for Grand Prix America to be here at Seafair. And we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a 7-boat final, the second largest hydroplane class on the planet. 1,400 horsepower, speeds up to 150 miles per hour. That's pretty quick in a 24-foot boat. It's cool. Nate and I both have raced these past. This is like the Corvette class. I mean, these things are quick and fat, like the mini jet that was just out here. Awesome, and these drivers, I mean, they're the next unlimited drivers. So we're going to see somebody moving up into unlimited probably next year from this class. And I think one in lane 2, Austin Eckert and the Miss Renee, no doubt has the driving skills to move up to H1 Unlimited. And
Grand Prix Hydroplane Racing from Seafair is brought to you by JJR Engineering and Fabrication.
Jeff, take it away, buddy. 1A, it was attrition as we had 3 boats, Jeff Bernard, Austin Eckert, and Josh Harnack. 3 boats started. Bernard led early. Here's Austin Eckert. And here come Harnack up on the outside. And we'll see Bernard here, I believe, shortly. As they came to the line, Bernard was in 1, Austin Egret in 2, Josh Harnack on the outside. The start was good, but attrition would bite us here momentarily as we had a nice triple-decker going into turn number 1 on lap number 1. Bernard tucked to the pins, and Steve and Nate, that boat is so superior on the inside. That was your top qualifier at over 131 miles per hour.
Yeah, and for those not familiar with this class, this is essentially the funny cars, the top fuel class of limited hydroplane racing.
Now this was a nice battle between the Miss Renee and Josh Harnack with their local sponsor, Caveman Kitchen, but the boat on the outside, they have had trouble all weekend, as you see right there, went dead in the water, and Miss Renee right there. Now we'll probably see Jeff going dead in the water. You see Harnack with the lid up.
He was pulling up to him too, but that it's like a shooting star, your brightest before it blows up.
Exactly, and there's the Miss Renee with the Austin Egret. Now there's where Jeff Bernard went dead in the water with the local sponsor, Ty Ginger. Miss Renee, named after the owner, Brian Richards' late mother. Of course, his company, JJR Engineering and Fabrication, is the GP class sponsor here at Seafair. And there was your winner of Heat 1A, Austin Egret and the Miss Renee. And once the other two went down, it was easy pickings.
Yep, I think that's a number you're familiar with in that boat.
Yeah, 17's a great number.
Yes, sir. That was Nate's
There's the
number
results.
1.
Austin Egret was the winner. Did not finish was Jeff. And did not finish was Josh.
Tough. Jeff was leading last weekend and blew an engine, or I think it was a propeller that went last time. But we may see him in the final, hopefully.
Yeah, he's going to be in the final.
Heat 1B coming out. There's the beautiful Cool Cat Motorsports. We had Kevin Egret in lane 1 from Edmonds and the Freak. Greg Hopp, the veteran, in lane 2, and the Old Trapper Beef Jerky. John Shaw on the outside. There's the Freak. Beautiful boat owned by Brian Richards out of Snohomish. And we're coming down to the start. Kevin Egret in lane 1. Greg Hopp in lane 2, John Shaw on the outside. We get to the line, it was good.
Wow, what a start.
But as we go through the footage here, recapping Heat 1B from Friday, the attrition bug hit us again. But guys, right there, Egret looked good on the buoys, but Hopp and Shaw would eventually have problems.
Give me a sense of pride here for a second. John Shaw and his sister were created in my home when their parents were on vacation.
And they are twins,
they
brother
are indeed.
and sister. And you see Greg Hopp going dead in the water, unfortunately. And what that was, a $2.50 flange that held the fuel pump on giveaway.
Oh, no.
Now we go back, and there is Egret going up into the north turn on this 1 2/3 course on Lake Washington for GP. And I'm assuming here very shortly we'll see the 135 go down with John Shaw. But Kevin Egret, that's a beautiful boat. That's the previous Charger, and there is John Shaw right there. They had a motor grenade, and it was a tough break, but Ed Thompson and his crew out of Street, Maryland, they put it back together. They're in the final.
Right.
There's the GP10. How do you like that cowling design by Jimmy James?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, this is the water's rougher because they're running a shorter course, generating more wake, and every time that prop comes out of the water, hits the rev limiter, you're stressing the crankshaft and the connecting rods, and away it goes.
And there's Kevin Egret on the cool-off lap, and there's your 1B results. Kevin Egret on top, Greg Hopp and John Shaw, and unfortunate did not finish, even though we had number 2 for Hopp, but he would love to have it, but he didn't. Nate going to 2A. The Old Trapper Beef Jerky was fixed. The $2.50 flange was found, bolted back on the fuel pump. Josh Harnack in lane 1, Greg Hopp in lane 2, Jeff Bernard on the outside. This should be a good one, and it was for a while. We'll just see how it recaps here on the play-by-play. There's the green flag in the start, and Bernard was right there on the outside, which was key.
He nails him, and boy, watch Hopp. This boat is amazing. 26-year-old boat. Originally, I believe it was the Alamo boat. Just a real bullet, and the Hopps know how to keep this thing together.
And Jerry out of Snohomish doing a great job, and off the turn you see Jeff Bernard in the lead, and there's Josh Harnack in the Caveman Kitchen. Here's Bernard, and working that canard wing. Fill us in on what that does.
You know, you're trying to keep it not too heavy in the water, but he's got the canard wing way up, and it's causing the boat to react off the sponsons. You really want to float it over that stuff if you can. It's a, you know, don't blow it over, but get fast.
And there's the unfortunate attrition right there for Josh Harnack and Bob Shellhaze's boat. Bernard and the Ty Ginger working through turn number 1. and Jeff Wood come down to get the checkered flag, and there's Greg Hobb. Greg survived, and Wood gets second in Heat 2A. And, boy, beautiful shot there, the 79. Steve, that's a three-time defending national champion in Grand Prix America. Owner Mike Grandel out of Massachusetts.
Great ride. Jeff's doing super. We got some racing royalty. Hop's father is the fastest grandfather ever to have raced, set the kilo record in this class.
Bernard was the winner. Hop in second. Kevin Ekert, well, that was actually Josh Harnack had it did not finish in 2A. Now we're coming to 2B, a four-boat heat. John Shaw in 1, Austin Ekert in 2, his cousin Kevin Ekert in lane 3. Chris Grant's first appearance in the GP5 in lane 4. And Nate, it's great when you bring a boat to the race, and the Grants, and they actually started and finished this heat. They were thrilled.
Yeah, this is a class that takes a lot to be able to start and finish. So that's a good goal to start with, is starting and finishing.
And there was the start, and you saw
a little
bit early. John Shaw led him across the line in the Cool Cat Motorsports. Beautiful boat owned by Ed and Andrea Thompson out of Street, Maryland. And there's Austin Ekert, the one I kind of like in this final heat coming up here later on Kong. There's Ekert walking the boat. And Steve, that's a good boat ride.
Yes, sure. It doesn't look, but it's spilling the air, which you need to do to keep it in the water. And I've got a favorite, which I shouldn't, but Kevin used to race with us in Unlimited. And a heck of a driver, great guy, tremendous family support. But all four of these people, terrific competitors.
And there's Kevin Ekert in the Freak.
And if I'm correct, Kevin's the painter for many of these boats, I believe.
Yes, Kevin's a very talented individual and really good with the squirt gun, painting the boats. And
he and Terry Jo Bala, just what a team they make. What a couple. It's great to have them in powerboat racing.
Beautiful people, and they've been great to me here this weekend with hospitality. And you see the finish coming up here as Kevin Ekert would win Heat 2B because Austin Ekert, back to your point, did jump the gun in the Miss Renee. So Kevin Ekert won 2B. Chris Grant started and finished in second. That was his first ever Grand Prix heat.
Boy, good rate. This final is going to be something with these guys because the water's going to get rougher. The day's getting a little better, getting a little warmer. Looking forward to seeing the final in this one, Jeff.
Yeah, 3A's been run too as well. They combined that heat because there was attrition, so that was the people. Lane 1 was Greg Kopp, lane 2 was Jeff Bernard, lane 3 Austin, 4 was Kevin Ekert. The noise in the background you hear, they're on the water right now for the final 2 as well. So let's get these results of 3A done.
The Grand Prix Hydroplane Final from Seafair is brought to you by JJR Engineering and Fabrication.
They were running behind there, so we didn't have that video for you, but we are going to go to the lineup here for the final. And
Kevin Ekert in 1, Austin Ekert number 2, Jeff Bernard, GP79, Greg Hopp in the 15, Josh Harnack in the 12, John Shaw in the 135, and Chris Grant. 7 of these boats on this course. Boy, if you don't get the inside here, you are stuck.
Yeah, exactly, and I think handicapping on paper, Jeff Bernard is the favorite in lane number 3, your top qualifier, but keep your eye on the dominant white baby blue boat with the red lettering. That's Austin Ekert out of Burien. In the Miss Renee, there's Greg Hopp. We see in the old Trapper Beef Jerky. Steve, you told me earlier you drove that boat once for Ned Allen.
I sure did. What a boat. I mean, amazing power. But you see him now just messing around here trying to get the lane. Doesn't look like Jeff's got lane 2 unless he's going to leapfrog the boat on the inside.
No, they're all off-signed lanes.
Signed lanes.
Oh, it's okay. Signed lanes.
It's
okay.
I was getting
out for a while.
Oh, heavens. I would rather race for
What we really want to see here, people, is all these boats you see in that frame right there. That's a great shot, you guys, is to be able to start and finish this heat. If we get all the boats coming across the start-finish line at full song, it's going to be really impressive.
But, Nate, I'm going to let him race, brother, not set the lanes. But that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay.
You just got to nail your start, leave it wide open.
Look at that. That's a great shot. All these boats in the water. And their butterflies are running right now. They say, where do I be? Where's my timing mark? And some of these boats a little bit outside, they can't see the buoys through the rooster tails, so they have to kind of key off the other boats. So look how close they got. Look at that.
That's a couple.
Whoa, there's somebody losing a lane right now.
Swung out.
Yeah.
Someone's lost a lane there. So That's going to be an interesting call. See what the referees say on that one.
They're going to put some money in the cuss jar on that one,
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think so too as well.
We're coming to the line, mile and 2/3 course, 3-lap heat. We're racing. It
We got
appears
some
to be a
late
clean
starters.
start. Austin Egret leads him across the line in lane number 2 in the Miss Renee, but on his hip is Jeff Bernard in the Thai Ginger. Greg Hopp appears outside of the old Trapper Beef Jerky. Hopper lost the skid fin, went down momentarily. There's Kevin Egret on the inside. Egret back in third. Now Greg Hopp going dead in the water in the old Trapper Beef Jerky. And we got a deck-to-deck battle up into the north turn. Your top qualifier, the orange Thai Ginger in front. Austin Egret tucked back in second. Steve and Nate, deck-to-deck dueling doesn't get better.
We just got word from the officials, too, that was a clean start. It was close, but it was a good start. So here they are, first and second, right there.
And there's your lane 1 and 2. Jeff's got straightaway speed. The other fellow had lane 1. Getting 5 miles an hour to go past him. If Jeff can keep it in the water, it looks like he might have this one.
Lap number 1 complete. The top 2. Bernard
just
really
about blew
light
that
on
one
the
over.
outside. Now Austin Egret has regained the advantage and takes the lead. Shorter way around now. Jeff Bernard, let's hope he avoids Greg Hopp.
I think he went outside.
Dead in the water.
That could have made all the difference in this race. Is Jeff having to go outside of the stalled boat and he got loose going into the turn. That opens up a 20-lap lead, 20-boat length lead for this 17. That could make all the difference.
We're past the halfway mark of the championship heat for Grand Prix America at the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. You see up above in turn number 2. Steve, you're exactly right. Austin Egret's lead is increased, but Jeff Bernard not
Jeff's
giving
got
up on the outside.
Wound up. He's got it wound up.
Nate,
He knows
what
where
would
they
you
are
be
now.
doing? Well, I'd be pushing Bernard out to the shoreline.
I would too as well, but it's also got to look. He's too close to him to dive on the inside, but maybe not.
Yeah.
It could be. If he's going to go wide here, he dives through the tail and gets to the inside.
Yeah, this is the time to go wide, and then what Jeff might do is dive through that tail to the inside. It's a risky move, but he's got to do it if he's going to pull a win out of this.
Absolutely. If you want to win on Lake Washington, you're running out of tricks, you're running out of time. It's the final lap of the Grand Prix Championship.
His heart rate right now is probably 190 in first. You're just hoping to keep it in the water. You know you got a guy coming up on the outside. What a race.
Final turn, final lap.
Great to see
Grand
these
Prix
boats running too as
Championship.
well. So a lot of boats running on the course still. That's wonderful.
Could it be a party in Burien tonight?
It's going to be.
Austin Egret, the owner, Brian Richards, this boat named after his late mother, Miss Renee. Your winner, the GP Championship,
Well done.
is Austin Egret in the Miss Renee.
Well, and I think Mom's watching from above, and that was a victory for her.
And that's the first GPA victory for owner Brian Richards and Richards Racing out of Snohomish, Washington. There's Jeff Bernard. Guys, you both know Jeff. He'll be very disappointed, but with the lane assignments and also, too, the rough water and running outside Austin Egret, that was key for Egret to win, but it hurt Bernard traveling more real estate to his outside
Going
hip.
to that first turn, trying to come in tight, it just that.
Watch the replay now to see. I don't know if we're going to see the start or what, but the start, you'll be able to, well, this is the exact start here coming down. So, yeah, you saw the
Look at that.
change there inside.
One boat apart.
The one thing I'm not sure about during the score-up, we did see it. We saw some boats kind of push out and close, lose lanes and all that. So I don't have official word yet from the tower on what the official is, but right now it appears that the U-17 is the winner and Jeff Bernard is second.
And Nate, you bring up a great point, but I think those boats that could be in violation were on the outside of the boats in lanes 1, 2, and 3.
I do believe so, too.
And those two made known they were penalized because they were way late on the start. Heavens, they showed up for dinner at breakfast time.
Yeah. That's right, Steve. You did that a lot, too.
Oh, did I?
There we go. There's the Charger right